Good evening and welcome to Poker Night Live with myself, Mark Prince Charles Banin, and my special guest today. Well, you're always a special guest though, James, aren't you? James Browning, of course. Now, James, something doesn't quite feel right here today.
Why? What's the matter, Mark?
Well, this is not really right, is it? I mean, this should really be... If I just do that and leave you with that, that's how it normally is, isn't it? But that's how many chips you normally have in front of you. So can we just leave it like that? I think that'll be better.
I think it's been very sunny today. Mark's been out in the sun just a bit too long.
That's how it normally is, though, isn't it? That's a bit more like it. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about what the show's about and what we've got for you today. The name of the game is poker, and the type of poker we'll be watching is called Texas Hold'em. Now, if you're new to the show, Texas Hold'em is a game whereby each player gets 2 down cards, 2 hidden hole cards, and 5 community cards, which everyone can use. You take all 7 cards, make the best 5-card poker hand, and it's the betting that determines who are the winners and who are the losers. Now, the show is live. I'm live. James is live. Everyone in the studio is live. However, the poker is delayed by 5 minutes, and that's just to actually stop the players turning on their TVs and seeing what each other's hole cards are. Now, as well as being a live show, we're also an interactive show. So if you have any questions for me or James, we'd love to hear from you. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. The first way is by if you text the show to 84222. There it is on your screen. And all you need to do is put the word poker in, put your question in, and me and James will read it out live on air. As well as that, you can actually email the show as well, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And don't forget, have a look at our website. It's a great forum on there as well, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. Now, throughout the course of the show, we're going to have lots of different games for you, cash games, tournaments, and single table tournaments as well. So, James, do you want to do us the honours and take us through that?
Certainly. Let's have a look, a walk around the tables. Here we have $10 sit and go, the long structure, everyone starting with 2,000 chips. Blinds going up every 12 hands. And this is now a... Jacks against aces, what we've got here, trip aces, what a nice start for him. Against trip jacks, look at this, Mark.
Wow, this is curtains, isn't it?
Oh my goodness.
No escape, huh, James?
Trips against trips. And the ace even had a diamond.
Yeah, just to rub it in. Not that it made any difference.
Wow, what a collision that was.
That was, wasn't it? No escape from those, is there, James, when that happens?
$5 sit and go. And this is the old structure, everyone with 1,000 chips. Blinds going up every 10 rounds. And this is the private members rebuy tournament. 1 rebuy, 1 add-on. It's a $5 tourney. And as well as the money, they're getting points for their league. And actually, there's there's a few new faces on there. Panaman Creel. Do you know that one, Mark?
No. There's
there you go.
Yeah, like you said, there's 1 or 2 new ones on there that I don't recognise.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Well, so we should have lots of fun for our viewers tonight, James.
Yes, hopefully, and we will again have lots and lots of emails. Definitely give us lots of questions. Keep us busy.
Now, the questions can be easy, they can be hard, can't they, James? Because
this
is
easy,
pro night.
It's been sunny.
Yeah, it's a little bit sunny. We're a little bit tired from all that sunbathing, I think. Yeah, poker player's lifestyle. Anyway,
and I've had a bitter blow today as well.
Have you? What's happened?
Well, because had to go and sort my car out. I was travelling. I thought I'd quickly pick up a sandwich and a drink. So I'm in the supermarket. Short queue there, fine. The guy in front of me had got some drinks. And he was looking in there for his card or whatever, so I thought, oh yes, I'll get my Nectar card out. So I looked for that. But it wasn't his card. He had to have his identity because he was young. And there's me looking for my card, and she said, no, it's all sorry, so it doesn't matter.
No, I don't
That's
think...
That's cruel, isn't it?
Yeah. They let you free on the buses, don't they, James? That's how you get around nowadays, okay? Anyway, I think we better move on, James, haven't we?
She said it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think you'll pass for that one, James. Anyway, let's move on and see what we've got for our viewers tonight. I think it's a multi-table tourney.
Here we are, multi-table tourney.
Now, on this particular one, James, just give you an idea of... is this the private members league, isn't it?
Yes, it's the private members league.
44 runners started this one.
Okay.
We're on a 12-minute clock, 1,500 chips. It's $5.50 There was the buy-in,
Yeah.
and one rebuy and one add-on.
Yeah, and the rebuys and add-ons are just $5, obviously. And the initial one is $5.50 is the registration fee.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was a tournament going on in Walsall, James.
Oh,
Have
right.
You, this,
Yes, there was. There's a good... Actually,
Last few
and I
days.
like Walsall, actually, because they put on good festivals there, generally. And, no, I didn't get a chance to get up there. I've been busy on Poker Night Live, and it's a while since I've been to the Walsall one, but I normally quite like it. I've had a couple of results there as well. So.
have you?
Mm.
Ah.
But it's, they have tournaments with good structures, generally.
Oh, this is a bit nasty here, James. National Ubers has hit to set, and Tony has hit a set as well, but a better set, because he's hit a house. His set has turned into a little house there.
Have you played in Walsall, Mark?
I haven't, no.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I haven't played out of London in this country. Oh, sorry, Brighton. I have played in Brighton. Yeah, Brighton I quite like.
Yeah, I
Brighton.
like that. The
Yeah,
rendezvous.
there's always a very nice atmosphere, which is what I like about it. There's always buzzing there,
Yeah.
and always a good atmosphere. And of course the waitresses, oh la la.
Ooh la la is definitely right.
Yeah, they're definitely handpicked, aren't they? Yeah. They're definitely handpicked.
And how nice it'd be like going along to Brighton to play and be able to walk along the promenade there on a night like tonight, you see.
Yeah, it would be nice. It is nice there. I do like it, I must admit.
I could live in Brighton, actually. I really like it that much. I think it's really nice.
Are you sure, James? You know what goes on in Brighton, don't you?
Actually,
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about you, James.
You don't have to worry in that department. No, it's a very lively... it's a very no, it's a lively place. It's a nice place, Brighton. I like it. And it's got a lot of classy shops and restaurants and...
Yeah, it is good. It is nice there. It's nice there. If you get a chance, Rendezvous is the casino. They usually have some good tournaments there.
They've got a Grosvenor there as well, the house poker there.
Yeah, I've never played in that one.
And I think they're scheduled to get a... I think they're scheduled to get a big casino there.
Are they one of the... there was a list, isn't there, of these big casinos?
I think they might be scheduled to get the big casino.
Oh, interesting stuff. Well, Nationubus is in there with his ace-jack suited. He's hit middle pair. And
Mutt's nuts.
He's having a little go.
Yeah, he's very brave. He had 3 overcards on the flop and he fancies a 6 is so good.
Nationubus is going to like this, though, James, isn't he? He's not going to fade away here.
Yeah, second pair, and if he's wrong, he's got the flush draw.
Yeah. Well, Mutt's decided that he can't get away with this anymore. The guy's calling him. He must have something. Yeah. And there's Crumble 49 in the...
I don't like that play with the 6s, though. I thought it was too much money.
Too many overcards there.
Yeah.
Especially with a king and jack. If it was like 8, 10 jack, maybe, but... Yeah. Crumble 49, who I met down at the Gut Shot a couple of weeks back with his good lady. It was quite a nice, fun night.
Yeah, I wish I
It was good
missed
to meet
that
everyone.
because I was playing at the Western. But yeah, I heard it was a good night.
It was a good night, yeah. It was good meeting up, putting faces to all the names and aliases that we see. It was good fun. So we're watching, if you just tuned in, we're watching a multi-table tournament.
Oh, you've got me thinking now. I wanted to know, because you were talking about Walsall. I just had to have a look to see who won it. A very nice guy. Simon Nawab has won it.
Yeah, Simon. Yeah, lovely guy.
He was a friend of Bernie John.
That's
and,
right.
He's now connected with a new card club which is going to be opening. He's connected with, in fact, with the guy who came second. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's connected with Rob Young. And they're going to be doing a card club. They've come first and second.
Oh, excellent.
That is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is good.
Ewan Jones, a guy who won the London Open, he came fourth.
Yeah, and that's a funny story I've got about Ewan. Because Ewan, when I first started playing on these tables, Ewan was the one of the guys that I started playing with on the $10 sit and goes. He was on there playing the $10 sit and goes, and we actually got into a bit of a ruckus about something. I can't remember what it was now, and we started arguing online as you do, and then after that we sort of became friends. So and I bumped into him for the first time about 3 or 4 months ago. So nice guy, Ewan.
In fifth place is a guy who's won more £50 tournaments in this country than anyone.
Ali Malou.
Ali Malou.
Yeah.
An amazing record.
Has he?
Oh, the number of tournaments he's won is astronomical.
Really?
Small tournaments, yeah.
He's an aggressive player, isn't he? Very aggressive.
Yeah. Tom McCready, Red Dog. Steve Jelinek, another good player. And someone from the northeast, Neil Allen there, came 8th. Oh, very interesting. So I just about know everyone in that final.
Yeah. Dan played in that one as well. I think he came he missed out a little. Came 23rd or something.
In the pot limit Omaha, it was won by Action Jack.
So he's
Jackson.
on form.
He's in tremendous form, isn't
Yeah.
he? And Mark Goodwin's come 3rd in that, and he's in great form as well. And Mickey Wernick in another final.
Yeah, all the regulars there by the looks of it, James.
And our own Lucky Lou from Newcastle.
Well, he's hit 2 pair, James, and now he's let the other guy hit runner for his a bigger 2 pair. So Crumble will probably rue the time that he slow played that 6-8. Oh, he's raising, in fact. Gosh. Oh, there you go. So aces for Panaman, and he's just decided to limp in. Now, he's in quite late position, so that's a very dangerous play because when you're in late position with aces, it's less likely, should I say, that people will actually raise you. So he's taken a big risk there. Let's see if there's a big reward to follow. Well, he's got an up and down straight draw.
Is this still in the rebuy period?
It is, yes.
In that case, it's okay, isn't it? Because it's a chance to maybe win a big pot. You know you've got more risks. You know you're still favoured even against more people. So I'd forgive it in a rebuy period.
Yeah.
He's looking to just try and win a monster, you know.
Yeah. But he's just flat called here, James. Should he be putting in any more bets here? Pre-flop? Sorry, not on the flop. On the flop itself?
I don't know. He's just been. I think he's ended up heads up. I think he's pretty confident that he's winning.
Well, and that was a decent lay down by
Froggy Boy. Tony Harmon's got the Ninas from Pasadena, the 9s.
So don't forget, this is an interactive show. So if you'd like to get interactive with myself or James, there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can text the word poker to 84222, put in your question and just sign it at the bottom, and myself or James will read it out live on there. As well as that, you can actually email the show, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. We're here right through to 2 a.m. So hopefully you should find some questions that's been burning on your mind. Poker-related questions, of course. So what do you think about the World Cup, James? Have you been watching the World Cup?
Yes, I have. I've been watching a little. I haven't seen all the matches, but I've been seeing quite a bit of it, or at least seen the highlights.
So is the question, James, is Rooney going to play against Trinidad?
I know, it's a question on our minds. I don't know. I think I wouldn't be surprised that he gives them a little bit of a run out.
For the last 10, 15 minutes or so?
Yeah, I don't think he'll play the whole match.
No. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? It was a rush. I
think he's sort of nursing his players because I think he thinks Owen isn't fully there at the moment. That's why he took him off.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think it was a big mistake, doesn't it? Because he had one injured player and he really should have had 3 stronger players.
He's got another one now because Walcott's got an injury.
Has he?
Yeah,
well, he shouldn't have been. I don't think it's debatable whether he should have been there anyway. But anyway, let's get back to the poker. We're watching a multi-table tournament. This one's just kicked off. They're in the rebuy period, so still a lot of play left for these boys. They all started with 1,500 worth of chips. And they're trying to see if they can make it to the final stages. Well, that's a nice slot for Tony. He's going to like that.
Top 2 pair,
Yeah.
rather sweet, and Skinner's taking off with the bottom pair.
Yeah,
Surely
drawing
can't
pretty thin, isn't
answer
he?
this raise. He's got to put this down.
Well, he won't be calling this, will he? He's shown some strength there. He had a little go at it. Thought maybe his pair was okay, but we know that it wasn't.
Not too much out there now, but is Tony going to try something in? Yes, he is. His latest position, he's just raising up with his ace. Blinds are 15-30. And he captures 45.
Well, pair of fives for Tony. What's he going to do? He's going to push it up to 90. That's
Same
3
bet
times.
as he did before.
Yeah. Do you like that bet, James?
It's okay. In this stage at 15-30, I wouldn't mind just probably. I'm looking to try and hit a big hand with fives. I'd quite like to limp along there.
Right.
And then try and connect with a five.
Because it's early in the tournament and you want to use it to accumulate
I want people
chips.
to be in there. I want other people to encourage them to limp, and then I hit my five, and then maybe win a nice spot. I'm not looking to win blinds here particularly.
This is an interesting question, James, because would you play it the same way in a freeze-out in the beginning stages?
Early stages, yeah, I do, yeah.
Right. This is interesting because...
I slow play, I just limp in with fives. I want to hit a big hand in these early stages.
And would that include in a live game as well?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, definitely.
The reason I asked that is because we had, we had Devilfish on a few weeks ago.
Right.
And he was saying that he didn't want to play small pairs at all.
Right.
And especially against lots of players, because he was always worried that he'll get set over set and get knocked out. So he was saying that he didn't like playing small pairs that way.
Really? I mean,
yeah.
But
he actually likes to raise with it.
If you're worried about set over set, you should be careful crossing the road then, because that's not too likely. We saw one here earlier, but this is just not a likely occurrence.
Yeah.
And it's not something to be really too worried about in Texas Hold'em. It's just really, really just so unlikely.
Right.
You know, because you've already had to click with one of the cards. The very fact that someone else is... We know how difficult it is to get a pair. 16 to 1 against to get a pair. Now you're expecting the person to get the pair and hit the 7.5 to 1 shot on the flop. And if you've hit yours, of course, it's a longer shot than 7.5 to 1 because you've used up one of the cards.
Yeah, of course.
Not something
so
I'd be
not something
worrying too much.
you're
no.
worried
No.
about. Okay, well, just shows you. Poker's a game of different styles, isn't
also, with you're looking there, you're hoping to get a flop where someone falls in love with their ace king when they've hit the ace or they've hit the king, or they might have made 2 pair and you've got the trips. I mean, trips generally you can think back through your poker playing and you've generally got happy memories about trips. You know, you can remember the times when they've come unstuck more. You know, it's not so... They don't come unstuck that often, not trips against trips.
Yeah.
They sometimes get done by a straight or a flush. Obviously,
but it's not that often to get set over set, is it?
No, not really. Maybe the set can come along later. That's
so
possible.
Maybe on the turn or the river, perhaps.
It's possible, but I'm just saying, it isn't a common occurrence.
No. But it's interesting how he decides to play it differently, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
he decides to, because he actually likes to go in with raising. He was saying it on the show. He actually likes to, when that question was put to him, he was saying, I don't like to limp in for that reason. I don't want to play it lots of ways. I want to really crowd it out because the chance of me hitting a set is very slim, so I want to try and win it there and then. Yeah,
but for me, what will depend on me is when the blinds go higher, now I'll play my small pairs differently. There will be a time in a tournament where maybe I'm just going to be pushing all in with a small pair because that's the time. Or there may be a time in late position I'm raising more or less to take the blinds down, but I've got the backup of having a small pair.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I will play the different way later on, but when the blinds are very small, everything I do is in relation to the size of the blinds, basically. Yeah. And if you've got plenty of play, well then... Because it's such a long shot to be able to hit your trips and get a customer, you need to have enough money to be able to buy enough raffle tickets to keep on trying it.
Yeah, important. I mean, so I tend to like your way of playing.
Right, if you raise the price of doing it, you don't have enough chips to be able to afford to do it. That's the problem. So I want to be able to say, well, I'd like to look at for this if I could, and then keep on trying it.
Yeah.
I'll have 8 goes at this. And downside is not too bad. Yeah. And the chances are that I can really...
You can accumulate. And they're hidden, aren't they? Sets are very hidden. Very hard to spot.
You hide it more when you haven't... If he's there raising in that, he's now harder for him to find his customer in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I tend to like the way you play it. I tend to not do.
As I said,
to
but
try and play it a bit more
later,
sneaky.
later I'll adapt the play with pairs because all the time there's nothing set with any hand. It's always depending on what stage of the tournament you're in, I think.
Yeah, okay. So there you are. Some different advice on how to play pocket pairs. I'm going with James's one on that one. Anyway, I think there's an email, but before we do, let's have a quick look. Shall we do an email? We can do an email. Want to do an email, James?
Yeah, whatever you like, Mark.
Okay. So this one is from Mick. Thanks very much for that, Mick. He says, "Hi guys, I play small stakes 10-seater cash games on the net, which I prefer to the 6-seater games. But I tend to win a bit more playing 6-seaters. Do I continue playing a game I prefer or where the money tends to be, as there seems to be more fish at 6-seaters? What do you guys play, 6-seaters, 8-seaters or 10-seaters, and why?" What do you prefer, James? Well, in fact, we were talking about this,
we were
funny
talking
enough,
about it
weren't
actually in the break.
Beforehand.
Funny enough, the short game I've been playing, just to be awkward, I've been playing 5-seaters. I have actually I've been enjoying it. I've been playing 5-seater no limit. I've actually dropped down a level from a normal level to play it because I want to feel very powerful in the game. I want to be flexible because I know you're going to get more fluctuations because you're going to be more aggressive, not so much waiting for premium hands.
You're going to be
more
looser, aren't you?
Playing positions. So therefore you will have some accidents.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared for more volatility in your results.
Yeah.
So therefore you have to feel comfortable with getting wiped out and rebuying or whatever if needs be. But
you like those, the 5-seaters?
Oh, I do. I find it exciting, and also I find it's lots of poker. You actually have to make lots of poker decisions. And then somewhere along the line, you create different images all the time. I've actually started to do these small raises, but a lot of repetition, a lot of raises, and still do the same raise with the big hand, and then maybe catch people that way, because I've seen in the end a lot of different hands. Whereas when I'm playing in a 10-seater ring game, well, I'll generally revert far more to tight aggressive. When the moment is right, then I will play something different. But then that will be not as often. But every now and again, I'll play a mystery hand to try and win a mystery pot in the ring game. But more times than not, I will be setting up my stall as being solid, playing with big cards, raises. It's going to be expensive if you get in the pot with me. That's going to be the stall I'm going to set. And then that will then give me the chance, though, even in that game, every now and again, I might put a raise in with suited connector, something strange, where I might hit a very big hand, but they think I've hit a different part of the flop.
Right.
And then, of course, I've got a good chance to get a really big payday.
Yeah, yeah.
But in the short-handed, a lot more flexible, a lot more action in the short-handed. And you can tell just purely from your percentages. I check my percentages as how many times I fold pre-flop. Of course, short-handed, I'm pretty active, especially in the 5-seater.
Of course. Okay, well, I tend to play 6-seaters at the moment. It does vary. I actually prefer playing 8-seaters myself. If I had my preference, then I'd tend to play 8-seaters. If I had a real preference, then I'd probably play 7-seaters. But that would be my preference. But of course, they don't exist. So
they do.
Do they?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can get sites who have 7-seaters.
Oh, okay. I'll have to have a look at that then. So yeah, but I don't mind. I don't mind. You just have to adapt, don't you? Really, it's just all about adapting to whatever one you're playing. You have to adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So time to head over to a cash game. So let's see what these guys are up to. This is a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game, I believe.
It certainly is, and you can buy in for $50 or for as little as $5. Flops Jack 4-7. And no one is connected apart from the little 4. He's got 2 pairs and it's a big enough hand to win the pot. Well, I see a motley array of cards there, apart from the King, Queen and the small blind.
Of course, talking about seated games, this is an 8-seater one we're watching. So...
and this is an unusual play we've got under the gun. Tommy Boy's limped under the gun with 5-9 suited. An imaginative play.
Maybe he's going to try and represent aces here, James.
Pool just makes up the small blind.
Of course, so we've got... well, he knew something.
Oh, look at...
That There you go, James. He knew something.
Wow. Now, but what's the king queen now? Why is he calling?
He doesn't believe him, obviously, for...
And now he's got a flush draw. Oh, no. Tommy Boy must like those 3 diamonds. Poole was going to try and hit that flush. He's going to try and hit that... Oh, no.
So it's payday, isn't it, for Tommy Boy?
Did you make this up earlier or something? Is this a trick?
This is not a Mark Banin special, no. I don't play 5-9. Well,
Whoa.
Incredible. That was an unbelievable hand, wasn't it, James? 5-9
He
suited.
limped under the gun with
And he
5-9.
flops the house.
He flops 5-5-9, and the other poor guy calls with nothing, then gets a flush draw, then hits the flush. Amazing.
That was amazing. Very unusual play there. Not something we'd normally recommend.
Except Tommy Boy obviously had voices in his ear telling him that 5s and 9s were coming on the flop. He listened to them.
You listen to the voices.
Yeah.
Is it good to listen to the voices?
Well, it is in Tommy's case, I think.
Well, just to give you an idea, James. For a 5-9 to make a full house, it's 1,100 to 1. Just under 1,100 to 1. So you won't be seeing too many of those.
All right, so that's...
1,088 to 1, 2 non-paired cards to a full house.
All right.
To flop it, of course.
Oh, to flop it?
To flop it.
Oh, not to make it in 5 cards?
No, to make it, to flop it.
All right.
Yeah. So that won't happen too often. But interesting. Interesting that he chose to play it. Not good cash game strategy overall, is it, James?
No, I mean, listen, if a bit of... You can play some funny cards every now and again, I said, because you will get some weird results. But if he's always playing funny cards, of course, then people should just, of course, make it expensive for him to play. Thing is, if you're in a very passive game and they never raise you, of course, then you could really start playing with a very wide number of hands.
But it's not usually recommended, is it?
No,
Because you don't usually get tables
when
like
you
that.
limp in the early stages, someone's going to raise, you're going to have to leave your money behind. Of course,
Yeah.
it's a terrible deal you're taking part in, isn't it? Leaving
Yeah.
money behind and never seeing any cards, you'll soon go broke.
No, that's right.
But I said if you were in a very passive game, well then, of course, you could play with a far wider selection of hands.
Here's an interesting question for you, James, and we sometimes get this question. Now, how do you feel about in cash games playing from the small blind when there's been no raises to you, but there's been a couple of limpers? What odds are you looking for to play a hand like 5-7 offsuit?
Well, my first question is, before I think of anything about the odds I'm getting, is what is the guy on the big blind like?
Okay, let's assume he's passive for the moment.
No, I'm just saying, no, that's it. I'm just saying this is very important for people.
Uh-huh.
That's the first thing they should think about. Never mind about the odds for the small blind. What is the guy in the big blind like?
So, in other words, is he likely to raise?
Yes, because
Right.
all of a sudden you're not getting the odds you think you are, because it's just altered the whole odds structure completely.
Uh-huh.
So that's the first thing to... Now, when I've got this wild guy on my left, I'm not going to want to be sort of limping with too many things in the small blind. If I'm in a cash game, this was, did you say?
In a cash game, yeah.
Do you know what? I'm not keen on making up too many funny hands in the small blind.
Right.
Because the problem is I'm going to be first to speak. And I'm going to just be out of position. It really has to hit the flop in a big way for you to feel confident to play it.
Right.
Because otherwise you just don't know where you are.
So it's a dangerous one to play. So
It is dangerous. I don't want to. I'm not.
But can that be advantage sometimes by actually playing those kind of
Yeah, but what if you play with
situations.
9-2 offsuit?
No, I'm not saying playing with 9-2, but I'm talking about something that has some kind of prospect.
Oh no, if it could be recognised as a hand, yes, I would limp in if I'm getting big odds, yes. But I'm not just going to make up any hand like 9-2 offsuit or something.
Gotcha.
Because that's just too difficult.
That's just a waste of time.
Well, because it's going to get me into trouble so many times.
It just doesn't make a hand, does it? It's just
no, okay.
it's got very little prospect.
If it comes over 2-2-2, you know where you are. That's great.
Yeah.
But for sure. But I'm just saying, if you get trips or something, it's probably okay. But trip 9 is not so good.
No.
Supposing it comes over 9-9, when you've got to like it. But someone could easily have been playing with ace-9 or 9-10 or 8-9.
Yeah.
All of these beat your 9-2.
Yeah.
So you can end up now just not being able to get away from a hand.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So that is a problem in poker, because I keep on stressing that in poker it's just so important to play knowing where you are. And so basically it's very much down to the individual what hands they play.
Right.
So basically, each individual will have a separate guideline which suits their mentality. And what they have to follow is to say, right, I know how to play this hand, so I can play that hand. And if I say, I never know how to play that, well, don't play it.
No, that's good advice. Very good advice there from James.
And so it's not going to be the same for everyone. You know, not everyone's going to be Stu Unger, who can play every hand.
Yeah.
This is a different talent. I must admit, in the short-handed game, when I'm in position, I do tend to play some quite funny-looking hands every now and again. But they'll still have a semblance. I still actually would like things to be connected, if possible. Or I want to have a big card. I will probably, in the 5-seater, for example, I will probably play most aces.
Right.
Because it's it's less likely that someone else has got an ace, so the ace is still a pretty powerful card in Hold'em. Whereas I'm not just going to play any ace in a 10-seater game, because this is going to be just going to get you into trouble, because you're always going to have kicker problems. So that would be the difference between the shorts for the 5-seater and the 10-seater.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah. Good points, and this is why poker is such a fascinating game, because there's so many different situations, a number of seats in the game. There's just so many different things going on that you have to be aware of, isn't there? Yes,
definitely. In fact, we were having a chat. Tom and I had a little discussion the other night, and we were discussing about when you've got people who basically are just calling stations on your left, and they call everything.
Yeah.
And you're playing in a tournament. I was proposing that maybe now you're actually wasting your time making these bets to try and steal the blinds. You don't need to put the raise in. Maybe sometimes now you should just limp in or put a smaller raise in, because they call anyway. So now you should just control the size of the pot, because you're not actually going to be getting rid of them. These are people who you just know keep on calling. So therefore you say, okay, I'll play you in position. I know I fancy my chances because I've got position. How many times do we see two hands out there? We see both the same hand, and we say, well, the favourite's the one who's got position. So I'll play them in position, but I will actually control the size of the pot more, because normally when we raise, part of it is because we've got fold equity. And that's why we increase the stakes, because a lot of the time we put in a price where the people say, take these chips, they're yours for no risk.
Yeah.
That's why we do it. But when people aren't passing,
then you haven't got that anymore, have you?
So why put the price up?
Yeah.
So now, we say, oh, I'd normally put a raise in here with my King Jack late position. Why do you want to play this for more money? Because he's calling everything.
Yeah, and now you're just going to create odds.
Yes.
Odds
so now you might like to play it in position, but now you can say, right, I'll just slide in there and play it, flat call it in position, because you call everything anyway. Or I'll do minimum raise with you, because there's no difference. So that's where I would. Do you like that idea of controlling the size of the pot more there?
It's imperative.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's one of the key things nowadays in today's game.
Yeah.
I mean, probably it always has been, but controlling the size of the pot is very, very important.
So again, this is a matter of just looking at the characteristics of players and having to adapt our play accordingly. So we should always be open-minded about our plays. The worst thing in poker is to get just into sort of like a routine. I always play this hand this way. It's no good. It's for an ever...
Yeah. Well, you can you? That's the thing.
It's an ever-changing game, and the situations are changing all along. Anyway, what's happening here? We've got family pot.
Yeah, four players involved in this one, and
Tommy Boy's got an ace.
yeah, that's about it, isn't it? That's all he's got.
Pool 8's got the queen.
And one of those tens is missing, so he won't be looking to hit his second pair with that queen. Less likely, now that Cincinnati Kid's got one of them.
$5 pot, and Tommy just bets $1. The queen decides to come along there. Bet one more dollar. He's determined to get paid, and he will do, and did do.
Well, there's a nasty semblance of hands here, and then we've got a couple in there. Latinator's got some Jack Queen, which he wants to have a little limp in with, and Cincinnati Kid's got in a suited ace. He decided to have a look as well. And of course, Kamichi doesn't want to see any diamonds appear, not too many of them anyway. That'll cause potential problems for him.
Because in his mind he wants to see diamonds.
Yeah, absolutely, in his mind he does, but that's as far as he should be seeing it.
Latinator has hit the jack. Oh, and look at that, lucky 7 for Fishing Maz. He hit trips on the river. Bet 350 into a pot of 6.
And of course, later today, James, we've got the Beat the Presenter tournament, and you're going to be making that play, aren't you?
Oh, it's my turn tonight, is it?
It's your turn.
Okie doke.
Hope you're going to take it easy on those boys.
Hope they're going to take it easy on me.
Oh, look, Morrison's picked up a nice hand.
Johan Harron there, big slick. Ah, he's done his big raise with this time. I do like the way Johan varies his play. But unfortunately for him, he's walked into aces, and Morrison has not given the game away. He just called the raise, and now he's checked. He's really left the door open there for Johan, because pool 8 is checked as well. The only thing is it's against 2 people, which Johan doesn't favour, but yet there he is. He couldn't resist it. He's bet $10. Morrison, very, very tricky here. Is he just going to call again? Yes, he has. Well done.
And that's not a card
Well
Johan
done.
wanted to see,
Check
is it?
again, Morrison, and you get well paid here, mate. I hope you're going to continue. Oh, you could. You nearly played it to perfection here.
Well, Johan probably
Oh,
thinks...
he's done it.
I was going to say, Johan probably thinks, oh! James, what do you make of that?
Oh,
James is flabbergasted.
I'm absolutely speechless. Look at that. Morrison managed to get all his chips in there. Massive favourite. And 2 outs on the river, and Johan pings the king. I mean, absolutely brutal.
That wasn't nice, was it, James?
Very, very cruel. Very unlucky, Morrison. Very unlucky.
It was very unlucky, wasn't it?
Oh, goodness me.
Your jaw just dropped, James.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I've been seeing nothing but horrific outdraws. Oh, dear me.
Well, it's an interesting situation for Fishing Maz, who has a pair of queens, but he's probably not that sure how good he is. But we can see it was good until that river arrived, and now Pool 8 Bull is thinking, yummy, that's good. No straight possibilities out there. So it means that my set of sixes should be pretty good
And
here.
Fishing Mouse puts that down. He's got enough clues to get out of it. There's an ace there, there's a king there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty there to encourage him to pass.
Yeah, absolutely. So Morrison has reloaded. We're watching a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. Maximum bind for this table is $50, and minimum bind is $5. You can see Cincinnati Kid with 128 in front of him, and that's because he's managed to accumulate chips from the other players. So he's doing pretty well, as is Johan Harron, who we just saw beat aces with his ace-king by runner, king-king. Pretty nasty.
Where do you reckon Morrison's been?
Probably collecting his laptop from the other room, I think. Well,
Oh, right.
as he probably threw it there.
And the mouse, that's the other side that you can't find it, behind the couch, I reckon.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Well, that's a nice little board there for Fishing Maz, who's hit his...
Do you think he said something like, "You had really great fortune there, Johan"?
Yeah, well done. I think those are the words in the chat box.
Yeah?
Well done, you deserve it. Doesn't quite work out that way, James, does it?
You've been suffering a little bit, he said.
Who has?
You said you've been suffering a few brutal ones.
Oh, yeah, a few days ago I had a couple of real brutal ones, yeah. Yeah, some loss. Very similar to that one, actually. Very similar. But what can you do? These things happen.
Yeah, the one you said was one horrible. Was it Ace-9 against King-9, and the flop is Ace-King-9, was it?
Yeah, Ace-King-9, and I had... it was Ace-9 against King-9.
Yeah. And the next
uh,
card's a King.
It was, yeah.
Oh.
Well, these things happen, don't they, James?
They do. And Fishing Maz has got the Lady, and Latinator has got the 9, which is far stronger in this case because it gives him 3 9s. Well, he's wondering, how can I get paid here? That ace might actually scare away his customers, or he's hoping someone hit the ace, I think. So he bets 3 into the pot of 5. Fishing Maz there's got the queen, and well put down. Very good pass. Didn't fall in love with it and put down the king-queen. Excellent. Pool 8's got the Cowboys, King Kong, 2 Wise Men, $2.50, 5 times a big blind, bigger than I like. You did not try, you're not at all, you're not trying to win the blinds with your pair of kings. Your kings is worth more than 75 cents in this game. So you've been underpaid with them because you over-raised with them. Well, imaginative bet from Fishing Maz. Oh, Fishing Maz has got big slick now. On the button. But not much opposition in the blinds, as we can see. But Tommy Boy's limped in with his Queen 9, and it's a flat raise by Fishing Maz. 50 with 50, and I think Tommy Boy's going to pop his 50 cents in. There's $2.25 in the middle. He does so. And a pretty good flop for Fishing Maz. Hit 2 pairs, aces and kings. And they both check. Tricky stuff going on here. Tommy Boy checks again. And Fishing Maz bets $2. And Tommy Boy says too much.
Got an interesting email which I'll read out a little later, James, from Drum Ace. It's quite an interesting situation, actually, and it's something that I can identify with because I used to have that very same problem. So it'll be an interesting point of discussion.
What, did it was an injection that cured it, or?
No, the clinic gave me the okay finally. So, well, that's not really what Johan wanted to see with his pair of tens. And anyone that, well, he's probably going to put a little bet here just to see if he stands where he stands. He might put like a 3 or 4 bet. No, he doesn't. And Fishing Maz has now got bluffing rights. Decides to, well, I might as well.
Might as well, mate.
It'll be hard for Johan to call this.
Yeah, and he put it down. And Johan is not frightened. You see, I like this part of his game. He is not frightened to put a hand down. He's not.
Should he have put a little feeler bet there?
I think he could have done, yes. I think he could have done. I think he was just a bit... He didn't like the fact there were 2 overcards there.
Yeah.
But I think he could have put the feeler bit there, especially if he'd thought ahead and said, if my opponent bets I'm passing, well, he could have perhaps preempted it there.
Yeah.
And he could have chosen the price that he would have continued for and put it in himself. But, as I said, what I like about Johan is he doesn't mind. He said, oh, you might be bluffing me, whatever. Anyway, I don't know where I am, I'm passing. And that's very good. That's a great part of it about his game, because that backs up what I'm saying before, that the game is about knowing where you are in the game.
You always got to find out.
Okay, now he didn't know where he was with the ace-king against the aces, but Morrison actually played that very trickily. But generally, he likes to find out where he is. And if he doesn't know where he is, he'd rather just pass out the hand and save his chips for a hand where he does know where he is. And that's what we should do. And we shouldn't be too proud to realise we don't know where we are in a hand. That's the important thing.
Yeah, it is important, absolutely. Well, we've seen some interesting hands here on those cash games, and also on the multi-tables. We've seen some interesting situations crop up. You had a jaw-dropping moment.
A jaw-dropping with the 9-5 of clubs.
Yeah, and also with the ace-king against aces.
Oh, no, that was cruel.
That was horrible, wasn't it? That was nasty. Yeah, that's the game of poker for you. Turn of a card changes everything. We've got an email from Drum Ace, which I'd like to read out. And thanks very much for the email, Drum. He's saying, hi, Mr. MB and Mr. JB.
Oh.
It's always a great show when you two are presenting. Smiley face there. I have a question that applies to both multi-table tournaments and sit-and-goes, and I would like your professional comments. I seem to quite often crash out on a bubble due to not really having any cards to play with. Every time I'm on the small blind or big blind, the pot is raised heavily, so I have to fold. I've bluffed a few pots in late position, but generally, if I try to bluff after the majority have folded, I'm re-raised and then I fold. I seem to play quite well, and often I am in first, second place out of a couple of 100 in MTTs, and I just keep losing when the blinds and antes are huge and the playable cards don't come. So, if you have played a tourney with 200 people and 15 places paid, you were in second position with 50 people left, and for the rest of the game you just got rag cards after rag cards with huge blinds. You can lose just by doing nothing. What can I do to stop bubbling? Obviously it's a game of chance. I wish I was Superman and I could see the other players' cards, then I'm sure I could win a game or two. Well, James, what's your opinion on this? Because I can identify with this. Okay,
well, I think this is a frustrating thing. The frustrating thing is in this tournament, when you've been playing well through a tournament, suddenly, at the latter stage, when the blinds go up, you suddenly go card dead. It's a nightmare, absolute nightmare. And also what tends to happen there is now you say, okay, this would be a good position because that blind there, he's a bit tight or whatever, and before someone else puts a raise in, your hand is rubbish. You can't call a bet with it, so you just got to pass it. We will hit these very frustrating areas in the Hold'em. When your cards just go exactly the wrong time, go to card dead. It happens to everyone. That you can't combat really very much. But what you have to do at that stage is somehow now pick your moments to just keep on keeping in pace with the game. Somehow try to take the blinds back each round. Just say, well, give me a bit longer, maybe it'll change, I might find something. And you just have to just keep on tick over, more or less.
Yeah.
But you've got to work hard at being on tick over.
Yeah.
And you've got to be on tick over before you're desperate, because they can see when you're desperate. So you've got to preempt it. It's when you're still, you say, good, now I've gone really quiet here now. So preempt it and just keep on saying, well, I'm going to have to make a conscientious effort to steal some blinds.
Right, okay. Well, I'll give you my answer after the break because we're just coming up to our break now, so we don't have time for my answer. But I'll give you a quick reminder of how you can contact the show. There are a couple of ways you can do so. First way is by texting the show, 84222. There it is on your screen. Text the word poker, your question, and put down your name at the end. You can, of course, email the show to poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And don't forget to put your name at the bottom. Always nice to have your name there. So it's been good seeing you for the short time that we've had you so far. However, we're going to see you very shortly because it's time for our little break now. Time for us to have a little tea or a coffee. Anyway, we're going to be right back after this short break. Don't go too far away. Welcome back to Poker Night Live with myself, Mark, Prince Charles, Banin and James Browning. Now, James is going to be playing our Beat the Presenter shortly, aren't you?
Not just yet, though.
Just waiting for an intro. Now, we had a question, James, before the break. It was about how someone who's playing multi-table tournaments and single-table tournaments, how he hovers around the bubble when there's about half the field left. He always seems to run out of cards all of a sudden, and the blinds are high, so he can't seem to make any moves. And I was saying to James before that I can identify with that, and the reason I can identify with it because I remember coming against that situation very, very early on in my poker career when I was playing multi-table tournaments. I remember being in a situation, I was playing a satellite, and I was one of the chip leaders, and I thought, okay, just sit back now, I've got lots of chips, blinds are small in comparison to my chips, so all I'll do is I'll sit back and wait. And I'm waiting, no cards. Anyway, but I thought I could still get away with it. Before I knew it, I'm now in a position of last place out of the satellite, the satellite seats that are available. And I thought, oh, this is bad. Anyway, I managed to steal a few blinds here and there, and I managed to get the satellite just about. However, it certainly taught me a lesson, and from that point, I vowed never to be in that situation again, where I just sit back, even with what was first or second chip placing at that time. So really, all I can say is this: sometimes you've got to take a bit of a flyer. Now, you said that people keep coming over the top of you. Well, sometimes you just got to drown out that possibility. You've got to take a chance with a hand. You've got to take a chance that they're not going to do that. And the only way of doing that is, guess what? By going all in yourself and putting them to the test. Let them call you for their chips. We had it the other day on Poker Night Live when I was playing the Beat the Presenter thing. Yep. Yeah, I did that same thing. I made the same mistake as you did. I let the guy. I made a bet. The guy didn't have any. I didn't have any fold equity, but he didn't realise that, so he still came back over the top of me, and I had to call. And he had Queen 10. Now, had I made him put all his decision. I'd have made him just call. Bigger question, call for all his chips. That would have been a different story. So this is really what you've got to do, Drum Ace. You've got to decide at some point. You've got to keep, like James has said, you've got to keep going with, as it increases, you've got to keep up. You've got to keep pace, haven't you, James?
Yeah. If you're not getting the cards, you've just got to be creative and just say, okay, I've got to really make a conscientious effort to take blinds down just to keep pace. Then hopefully you'll find a decent hand somewhere along the way. Yeah, absolutely. So that would be my advice too. Do that, and when you do it, you just got to take a fly with it. Sometimes you'll get caught out, and sometimes, hopefully, most of the time you'll get away with it. The thing to remember is that they're in as much trouble as you, in as much that they also want to get into that prize money area. So they're not going to put their chips at risk. You just got to pick your moments and pick the player that you're doing it against. So that's our advice, and hopefully that will turn it around for you. Certainly you can't afford just to hang out and wait for cards. Let me give you some contact details. You want to contact me or James, there's a couple of ways you can do that. The first way is by texting the show. All you need to do is text the word poker to 84222, put your question in, put your name at the bottom, and myself and James will read it out live on air. As well as that, you can actually email the show as well. And the way you do that is send it to poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And as I said, myself or James will read it out live on air. And hopefully there'll be some good questions coming through. So keep those coming. In the meantime, James is going to be playing Beat the Presenter, and in the meantime, we're going to be having a look at a cash game. So let's head over there. And voila, we're back to the 25-cent, 50-cent cash game, the one we were watching earlier. So thanks for that email, Drum Ace. That was a good one. I could really understand where you're coming from on that one. That was I even remember that particular game that I was playing. I actually had a very similar situation, James, in the World Series, not last year, the year before. I went out there without a seat and decided to play a satellite there. I was playing a satellite. How about this, James? 45 seats there were. Right. As in 450 odd players, roughly. There's about 10 places to go. 10, 15 places to go. No, sorry, I think it's about 15, 20 places, in fact, to go before the 45 seats. So there's about 60, 65 players left. Guy raises early position. I feel that he needs to make a move at some point. He's not desperate, but he's sort of getting close to it.
and I look down. I'm in the cutoff or on the button, ace queen. Now I think to myself, if I lay this down, I could be in a lot of trouble later because there's 12, still 20, and I'll need to steal blinds 3 or 4 times here just to maintain my stack. So I've got a choice here. I can either do it what I think is probably the best hand, or alternatively, I can actually do it 3 or 4 times and hope that I win every single one. So I decided that I'll only do it on the one occasion, and I called him with the ace queen, and he had ace 9. And that was the end of it. So I doubled up, and at that point I could sit back and I got through. So, you know, it's...
you decided that was your moment?
That was your moment, yeah. It was basically a choice. It was either win it here, win this particular hand, or win the next 3 or 4. Because I'm going to have to go in 3 or 4 times in order to maintain my stack. That's how much I am. That's how basically I worked it out. And I thought I'd rather win 1 than 3 or 4. There's a bit more chance of that happening. Don't like to be the caller, but... and it worked out okay on that situation. Well, there's a face we haven't seen for a while. Marty Doc, why? Certainly haven't seen him for a while anyway. So, back with us. Latinator with the Queen 8 suited. And you all underway, James?
I'm underway.
Excellent stuff. So, James is underway. Be gentle with him, boys.
And I've learnt that, in fact, that a table which is called Burgundy, because normally it's the ones with names I thought was long structure. Burgundy's a long structure.
Ah, cool. Okay, so you're in Burgundy. Table Burgundy, if you want to watch James in action. We'll actually be watching it here at midnight anyway. So you can enjoy the action that we have for you here. We're watching a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game, maximum buying $50, minimum buying $5. So, ace 9 for Johan. He puts a little bet out there, mid-position, and he wins it. Interesting little bit of play there from Johan. Or 6 for Marty Doc. What's he going to do on the button? Decides not to get involved. I don't blame him. It was suited, but it's a horrible little hand. Doesn't want to be pumping in money with that.
There's lots of discussion about dogs and cats, Mark.
Ah, is there? Pair of 8s for Kamichi. And a pair of 10s for, a pair of jacks for Tommy Boy. Top pair. Well, Kamichi still hanging in there with his second pair. And Tommy Boy's let him off the hook a little bit here. You could have made him pay a little bit for that one. And what's Kamichi going to do? Is he going to put a stop bet, or is he just going to do a check call? Well, he's actually trying to win it. And I'm sure Tommy Boy will call there. There's nothing there that's particularly scary for him, and he does. So Kamichi just applied another $5 and wasted $5 there, really. He might have got away with a check there by Tommy Boy, you never know. So Johan into the dizzy heights of $100. He's our current chip leader, so he's doing pretty well out there. Doubled his stack. We did see him do it with Ace King, if we remember earlier, against a pair of aces, where he got a little bit fortunate after all the money went in. But you do need a little bit of fortune in games, and he certainly got it on that occasion. Kamichi's going to like his ace queen, though. What's he going to do with it? Should be pumping it up a little, and he does. I think I would have liked to put a bit more spice behind it, a little bit more, bit of a whack. Make it a bit more scary for those guys, especially, yeah, Tommy Boy with the 10 jack.
10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack. 10 jack
So Kamichi with second pair. How does he like it? And of course Tommy Boy with up and down straight draw now. And a pair of threes, just hoping and praying that one of his threes will appear. Now Kamichi, yeah, he's been given some information. He's been told that no one's got a king, so his queen must be winning. Tommy Boy will call him, and that should make Kamichi feel pretty comfortable. He'll probably just, well, he could actually put a little bet out here, I think, because yeah, he does. He's hoping that he's got maybe a pair of tens or something like that, a pair of nines perhaps, but that he might call him with. But Tommy Boy is just, well, he's thinking he can only win it with a raise. Is he going to try and pull it off? No, he doesn't. I don't think he called it, did he? No, he didn't. I'm sure he didn't.
Mark, I've just got to pop in here just to say, for the ones who don't know, yes, my chat is disabled still. That's why I'm not answering it, no other reason. And up your ante, the books I was recommending was Harrington and Roberti, 2 volumes on Hold'em, and a 3rd volume to come very shortly.
A 3rd volume? Wow.
Mm.
Does Roberti play Hold'em? I didn't realise he played poker.
I'm sure he does. I haven't. I know him. I used to know him quite well.
Because he's, of course, a backgammon player,
yes.
isn't he?
He was a world
champion, isn't he?
Twice.
Yeah, I've read a couple of his backgammon books.
Very good. They're well laid out as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really easy to read.
Yeah. And he's also a top chess player.
Okay.
As was Harrington. Harrington was a chess player and backgammon player as well. So that's how you met him.
Did you play chess, James?
No, I didn't play chess. I mean, I can play, but not well.
Oh, a bit like the poker there, huh? James slid.
What was that, sorry?
I said a bit like the poker then. So yeah, and with the pair of fives, you probably want to see if he can catch another 5 on here. Not really what you want to see, an ace there, but Folly didn't want to see that either. And what will Folly do? Well, Folly's saying that he's got the ace. He's trying to get some money out of Johan. And, well, Johan doesn't believe him for the ace. And he's saying, well, I've got it. Johan's telling him he's got it. Well, this is a very strong play here by Johan. And Folly believes him. Wow, fantastic play there by Johan. But, of course, he was semi-bluffing too, because a 3 would have made him a straight. So it wasn't as bad as it looked. Any 3, any 5, of course. So that was a fantastic play there by Johan. Well read. Well, this is interesting. We've got a raise, re-raise, and a call there with the ace-queen, which I don't like very much of. He's ace-queen suited, I know. Well, he's now picked up an inside straight. Well, he picked up an inside straight draw on the flop, but he's also now picked up a flush draw, as well as the overcard to the kings. But the kings is no good because he's sitting there with 3 of them. So an ace is not going to do him any good. He needs to see a 10 or a spade. Nothing comes, and I think Folly's going to be pretty comfortable with that. And, well, what did he? He just flat called Folly. I'm very surprised. I mean, the only hand he was losing to was 5-6. Surely he didn't think that the guy had 5-6. He was calling a re-raise with 5-6 in early position like that. I think you could have elicited a few more chips from him. I don't think there was any other possible straight out there. I think 5-6 was the only one. So, King 10 raising it up. Poker Epic decides to call with his pair of 2s. Doesn't get the set he was looking for, and That's not too bad. Well, it's just got pretty nasty now. 3 cards to come. Well, he's actually picked up the straight now, and that's given him a lot more confidence. Well, ace-8 for Johan. Well, this is interesting. We've got Folly, who's picked up an up and down straight draw. So he'll like that. There's a 9 and a backdoor flush draw as well. So he'll like that. And he's telling everyone that he likes it. Well, Queen 4 for Poker Epic. He's thinking whether he should make a little play here. Well, he's going to try and steal it on the flop, I guess, because Queen 4 is not going to win a lot of hands on its own, so he's going to have to make a play on the flop, and that's a pretty good flop to have a play with. I presume that, having said that, Folly's been pretty aggressive, so you never know, he might fire out a bet. No, he doesn't. He's left it to Poker Epic, who thinks, well, that's a pretty good flop for a bluff, ace-8-2. Made it a bit weak, but it's worked out okay. So 8-6 for Marty Doc. What's he going to do? Well, he decided to call for 50. He was getting 5 to 1 on his money. He's picked up bottom pair, not a particularly nice situation to be in. 3 diamonds out there, no diamond in your hand. Having said that, nor has anyone else. And Poker Epic is just using his position. And wow, look at that. What a beautiful piece of play there by Folly. Check raising with absolutely nothing. He figured Folly on a bluff by virtue of his position, and he was dead right. Well, me count cards has just decided to limp in with his ace-jack suited. I would have fancied a little bet there, really. I don't like to play it multi-way. And that's the reason. You see, he puts a little raise in, he gets rid of the Queen 2, and maybe gets put up against one player, maybe, and he can. At least he's only got one player to bluff. Now he's got to try. If he's going to try and bluff, he's got to bluff 3, which is very hard, if not impossible. And he won't do it here because Poker Epic is they're going to be stuck in there. I'm not sure if he would have called an early position raise with Queen 10 from that position. He might have done. You never know. But I suppose me count cards can say he's got out of it now. Well, Kamichi's running into a bit of trouble here because he's up against it, and now he can't even get the board to pair to get him off this, so he really has to have a 2. And 2 is the only card for Kamichi, and oh, good fold there from Kamichi. Very good fold indeed. Marty Doc with a 4-5. He decides to throw it away. Kamichi with a King 8. What's he going to do? He decides to put a little raise in, a minimum raise. Queen 8 decides to call, and he's hit a nice flop for a Queen 8. A beautiful flop, in fact. He's hit the Queen plus the diamond draw, so he's looking very strong. And he decides to pot build. And I would have just liked a little bet of 1 there. I think a 1 bet would have been quite nice for me. Just build that, try and build that pot. That would have been my preference rather than trying to win it there and then. Very strong hand. So Paul 8 ball with the Jack 5. Probably doesn't want to get involved with this, I think. So I think that's the right move. And Poker Epic is raising from early position with 7-8. Not something I would do, even with my favourite hand. A bit too early for me, under the gun. But he's raised with it, and he's got away with it on that occasion. Well, this is interesting. We've got 7-8 for Paul Ball. He decides, well, that's very tight play. Doesn't want to call with on the button. It's been folded round to him. 7-8 decides to fold, and it's worked out okay because he's come up against a couple of big hands there. Johan with a pair of 7s and Poker Epic with the ace-10. Well, the 7-8 would have been in the lead. There you are. You see, Paul 8 Ball. You'd have had the lead. You could have betted it. They would have folded, and that would have been the end of the hand. And still was in the lead. Well, that's 7-8. Told you that's a good hand.
Well, I hope the God of Poker is saving up some really nice hands for me in the cash game tomorrow in Newcastle. I think that's what's going to happen.
Oh, they're not coming yet, then. Let me know when you get 7-8, James. I'll tell you what you need to do with it.
I haven't even had that yet.
So Johan with his suited King 2. He decides to fold that from the cutoff. Early position limper. Not sure what he's going to do, so I don't blame him for that. Well, Folly's picked up top pair. What's he going to do? Well, he comes out firing. Doesn't want to give any free cards in case they don't give him the opportunity to check raise. So it looks like quite a motley crew you've got on that table, James.
Yeah. No, they're a good crowd, I think.
Or is it a Mutley crew in that case?
Right, with the dogs, it could be Mutley.
Well, Queen 8, nothing there. Marty Doc has got to put out a bet here. He must realise this is the only way he's going to win this hand is by betting. So I don't think he's got much choice or check raising. He's got to do one of the two if he wants to win this hand. No, he decides just to give it up, which is another option, of course. Ace-7 suited against Ace-7 suited against Ace-10 suited against Jack Queen. Well, they're all coming. All the hands are coming out now, and Kamichi's going to like this. He's got an interesting part of it. He's actually got middle pair with an up and down straight draw. So it's quite a nice hand, quite a strong hand, because it means that he's got a pair. Plus he's got some outs, and his outs are to the nuts, which is good. So if he does hit that 9 or he hits that ace, that means that he'll have the best possible hand out there. It's always a little bit worrying when you're drawing, when your redraw is to a non-nuts. It's always a little bit more dangerous. Well, we're not going to see much action here until it gets to Paul 8 Ball, who's already limped in under the gun, and Johan's already said, well, I'm putting a race in with my ace-jack. I don't really want to call. Well, no action on the flop. A bit surprising there. Thought Johan would have come up with a continuation bet. They decided not to. Doesn't look like there's a board there that was going to help Paul 8 Ball. What's Johan going to do? He's just realised he's probably ahead here at this point. But maybe he's up against King Jack or King Queen or something like this. And, well, Paul's caught up. Yeah, he's realised he's ahead, and just got paid. Yeah, Paul 8 ball calling in with the top pair. So it worked out quite nicely for Johan in the end. Well, Johan being creative, this time with ace 10. And he's up against, he's dominating Paul 8 ball again this time with the 9-10. So he just wants to make sure that a 10 doesn't appear. Well, it's getting interesting again. This time Paul 8 ball has got an up and down straight draw. This time the 9 comes, so but he's not going to get any money out of Johan, who's got just a 4 card straight, not good enough. So only worked this time in Johan's favour. And this time Paul 8 ball's got him dominated. Well, this is sort of a little battle between these two, I think. Going to keep on going up and down. Marty Doc, nothing for him, nor Kamichi, nor me count cards. Paul 8 ball is going to want to play 10 jack, as he should. And this time Paul 8 ball has Johan dominated. Now, can he get some money out of Johan? Oh, look at that. And that's horrible for Paul 8 ball. It's not been his day so far. He's been, he had a dominated hand, and he's just been outdrawn on a turn. 2 pair for Johan, and that's going to take it. Paul 8 ball is just wondering whether he should stick the lot in or call or fold. Which one should he do? He's thinking. That's a big bet, and it looks like he doesn't want to call. Difficult one for Paul 8 ball. Is he up against Queen Jack? He's thinking to himself, well, he's made a good fold. A very good fold there by Paul 8 ball. There was something about that play that said that he shouldn't be calling. And very good escape. So have you had 7-8 yet, James?
Not yet, not as high as that.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Flop the flush, 118 to 1. The odds of flopping the flush, and he's done it. Folly's done it. All he needs to do now is to work out how to get paid. And the only way to get paid is just by flat calling. Well, he's given the game away, hasn't he? He's praying that Poker Epic's got a 5 in his hand. But that's not going to be good enough. So Folly could have got a bit more chips out of him, but didn't on that occasion. As he had position, it would have been probably just a good play, just a flat call or even minimum raise, I think. Might have given him some odds to call for a bad redraw, but he didn't even have that. There was no club in his hand, so there's nothing. And that's the problem. And that's the problem when you've got ace-king suited and you do hit a flush, you don't often get paid very much for the simple reason that the highest flush that you could be up against is a queen. And how comfortable is that guy going to be with a queen, with a queen of Queen Jack or whatever he happens to have? He's thinking to himself, well, there's 2 overcards that can beat me to my flush, so I've got, in effect, the 3rd best flush. So ace-king of clubs, not a great hand for flushes. Don't mean you, at least with, I don't know, ace-7 or something even worse, you've got only 1 overcard. That means, in other words, if you've got the king of clubs, suited king, it means that you could get paid from that guy. But the queen of clubs isn't going to feel overly comfortable with his flush. Well, kings for Paul 8 ball. And me count cards is just getting a bit bored, I think, and he's decided to limp in. And this is something you've got to watch out for. You don't want to be calling just because you're a bit bored, you haven't seen the cards in a while. So he's decided to call with his 8-6 suited. Very early position. And, well, he's now picked up the sort of thing that gets you to put a lot of money in. Paul 8 ball is going to start charging him, I think, as he should do. Yeah. And now he's picked up an 8. That's going to cost him even more money now. He's got quite a few outs, but he's around a little over 2 to 1, a little worse than 2 to 1, I think. And well, that shows you he's hit it. He's hit his flush, and that's not going to be nice for Paul 8 ball. He's going to have to call this. Yeah, he does, but Me Count Cards got very lucky with a play that I think was, well, questionable. Let's put it that way. Questionable play by Me Count Cards, but he got away with it on that occasion. Not something I'd normally recommend, calling with 8-6. If you want to be a bit tricky, you might want to raise with it every now and again. With a hand like that. Throw people off, but I wouldn't be like to call with it really. Just doesn't. It's just going to lose more often than not. You're not going to hit your spade on the end there. You know, you're about 2.5 to 1. You're about 5 to 2 to win that one. So it means that 2 times out of 5 you're going to win, and 3 times out of 5 you're just going to be plying in lots of money and giving it to the other guy. Especially with things like flushes where they do appear, you don't often get paid because it's very obvious for your opponent. You can see it on the board, you can see, like in this example, there are 3 diamonds, and that scares people. Well, gets a walk there, Me Count Cards with a raggedy hand, which he's going to be pleased about. So this could be an interesting one. We've got Jack Queen, Ace Jack and Ace King appearing, and even a little Queen 10 thrown in there for good measure. And the Queen 10 might fancy a little play here because probably not a lot of action by the time he gets around to him. Let's see what the Jack Queen and Jack 9 does. That'd be interesting. They could save him here if they decide to put some money into this pot. Well, Poker Up is just flat called. So I think Latinator might do the same then, now that he's flat called. Creates a bit of a domino effect. No, he doesn't. Well, Folly doesn't want to call with his Queen 10. Interesting. Doesn't want to... he saw the limp there, saw that as potential trouble, so he folded that, and that's a good piece of play there by Folly. He thought to himself, there's still 4 players behind me. I don't know what they're going to do. They might be raising it up and then I have to leave my money behind. So Me Count Cards hitting 2 pair there, 7-9. Of course, it's not as good as 7-8. But on this occasion, it's very good. He's made 2 pair, and he's going to get Pool 8 ball to pull in his money. He's hit top pair, and a bit unfortunate there, really. And I think he's had enough. He's got beaten up from all sides. He's been outdrawn, and sometimes when things go against you like that, and they certainly have been going against him. Just to hang up his boots and say, let's leave it for tonight. Difficult to do because no one likes leaving money behind, but when things are just going against you, they clearly have been tonight for Pool 8 ball. They hasn't had things going for him. He's been outdrawn all the time and been cold decked a little bit. So time to take the night off. So if he stays out, I think that's probably not a bad idea. So Morrison, who's joined us. Of course, we saw Morrison earlier when we watched this game earlier, and he's back. He's replaced Pool 8 ball, who was sitting in that seat. Let's see if he has a bit more luck. Well, Latinator with the up and down straight draw. He needs a jack or a 6 for it to win this for him, and Poker Epic has got top pair. He's not convinced. Well, look at that. He's hit his jack. So Latinator's going to be feeling good now. Of course, he could be losing to a king-queen straight, but that's not so likely. Oh, look at this. We've got something interesting going to happen here, that's for sure. We've got 8s against 9s against 10s. One straight after the other. So we've had a little re-raise. Poker Epic, will he want to have a little dip there with his 6-7? He does. He's on the button. He's going to see if he can use that. And Folly won't be throwing this away. No, he's called. So, not really a good flop for any of those cards. Not with 2 overcards like that and 2 likely cards. Now, I wonder whether Poker Epic will have the audacity to... No, he won't. I'm sure he can't do it. No, he can't. That would have been near enough impossible. And Marty Doc took the reins on himself. He says, well, look, I've only got 1 player to beat. The other 2 have shown weakness. Let's see if I can represent that stuff that's on there. In fact, he didn't realise how strong the other 2 were themselves. So Johan with his suited ace. I'm sure he'll want to play this. Just how is he going to play it though? Is he going to limp or is he going to raise? Probably a little bet here. Yeah, 150 I was going to say would have been my preference, but if you're going to play that hand. And he's on the fairly passive table, so he can get away with it. More often than not. Hasn't been particularly aggressive pre-flop. Poker Epic with the 5-2. Well, top pair for me count cards. You probably want to build a pot here. Probably a bet of 2 will do. Made it 150. Yeah, Kamichi just folding there. He believes him. Well, Johan with the King-Queen. James's favourite hand. He's decided to limp in under the gun with it.
You listening to James? Good.
So is limping under the gun the right move, James?
Yeah.
You're not folding?
Hey.
Well, it's not king of the unraised pots now because Morrison, who's in a big blind, has hit his top pair. And Kamichi is trying to put him to the test. Oh, look at that. And Kamichi, it's worked out very nicely for Kamichi, who's now hit his second pair. And Morrison wisely checks it. Now, what's Kamichi going to do? Is he going to put out a bet here? Probably wise to, because there are some potential straightening cards there. It does look like a hodgepodge of anything, like 5-7, I think, is a straight. 5-3 is a straight as well, I believe, is it? Yeah. So can Morrison get away from this? He's made it fairly cheap for him. He's getting 3-1 on his money. Well, he's just got his answer. And I think maybe a call there from Morrison. I don't think I would have liked to have been raising there in that situation. Not a sort of, there's not many cards, there's not many hands you'll get him off. Or get him to call with worse. It's going to be very hard. So let's see what me count cards does. He's got the mother of all hands, a 7-8 offsuit. And he's playing it, and he's playing it strong. He decided to raise with it on the button. You'll probably get a call here from Latin 8. No. Well, there you are. There's the strength of 7-8. The power of 7-8. Kamichi with change his favourite hand, King Queen. Well, missed again, unfortunately, for Kamichi this time. Can't. And Poker Epic likes that board. He says, I can't believe you're there with a 2 or a 6 in your hand, and so I just have to pray that you don't have a jack, and you don't, so I'm going to win this one. So nice bit of deduction there from Poker Epic. I think he read that board well and read the situation, and very nice indeed. Kamichi has picked up ace-king offsuit. Putting the bet. Johan's decided to have a little look with his 8-5 suited. And it's worked out pretty nice for Johan. Be interesting to see what he does, though, to a Kamichi bet, which I think Kamichi will probably follow through with a continuation. Trying to represent something like ace-jack, perhaps, or better. That's a big bet. He's made it more or less pot size. Johan is contemplating a raise or a call here. Which one is he going to do? He might just go for the call because the bet was fairly large. Pot size bet, that is. So he might just go for the call. Yeah, he does. And he's going to like that now because that's less likely that jack appearing does a couple of things. One, it's less likely that he's now got a jack. But two, it means now he's got a flush draw as well. So Johan will probably want to put out a bet. I was going to say probably about half the pot. Might be nice. But he's elected to go for almost a pot-sized bet, just under, and he's won it. He's read the situation very nicely. He's said that, well, if you've got a jack, very unlikely, and with that board starting to flush, I don't think you'd be checking it. Well, look at this, 10-3 for Marty Doc, and he's flopped 2 pair, a 49-1 shot. And he's come out blasting, and I don't blame him. The pairs that he's got, bottom 2 pair, are not that strong, and there's all sorts of flushing and straight possibilities out there. So I think he's done the right thing. I think you've got to come out betting. I think it might have been a little bit excessive, but you definitely don't want to be checking that. It's just asking for trouble, checking it, and letting your opponent outdraw you. So another interesting couple of hands here. We've got ace-10 and ace-queen close to one another. Latinator's put in the bet from the cut-off, which is fair enough. And I think Folly will probably come with a re-raise here. Probably wants to make it 6 or 7. Maybe even 8. No, he just elects to call. Wow. That's interesting. Those 3 clubs are going to slow them down, though, possibly. And Folly decided to re-raise here. He does. None of them are going to like that extra spade appearing, especially the extra club, rather, especially Latinator, whose cards are getting worse and worse by the second. Folly at least has got a redraw to the house, but not much chance of hitting that. It's about a 10-1 shot to hit his house on the end there. And yeah, he's basically saying, have you got a king or a 10 of clubs? Because if you have, then that's the only way you can really call me. You might call me with a 9. I don't think you will. And he's dead right. Unless they've got a king or 10 of clubs in their hand, it's very hard to call with like a 7 of clubs or a 6 of clubs. And Latinator's done the best thing there. One, he was behind anyway, but even if he wasn't behind, even if he happened by some miracle to be ahead, he wants to get out of it. He's drawing to an inside straight draw, which is very poor anyway. And he's got 4 clubs, you know. Not much point in making a straight when there's a strong possibility of a flush already existing. Not much point at all. Well, Poker Epic with a Jack-3, he's going to fold this, I'm sure. Latinator will fold it too. He's just had to put down a hand earlier, which was a good fold. And Folly's decided that he wants to have a look with a King-9. He doesn't want to flat call with it, and I don't blame him. It hasn't got many straight possibilities. So over 300 to 1 to make a straight with King-9 to flop it anyway. So he decides that he might as well try and win it pre-flop, and that's a good judgment. Now, this is going to be interesting, though, because Folly's going to come out of a bet, and Marty Doc has got a bigger hand. Now, Folly can work this out. He can work out that he can't be making this move with ace-10. It's very unlikely. So he's either doing it with a pair. Yeah, he decided to fold, so that's nice. So he's either doing it with a pair or something like ace, king, ace, queen. Unlikely, even unlikely to do it with ace, queen. How's it going so far, James?
Well, it's still in.
Well, this is very nice for Poker Epic. He's flopped the straight, 118 to 1. But look at this. So has Johan. Oh, they won't like that. Although just worsens their straight slightly. King, queen being the best straight out there now. What's Folly going to do? He's in early position with his queen jack. Probably could just throw it away, I think. There's too many players behind him. We've got 6 players left to act, and there's really no much point. And he's done the right thing for my... Well, inside straight draw for Morrison, plus a couple of overcards. He hasn't hit them, so he's probably got to realise that his jack isn't ahead, so he needs to put out a bet. And when you're board pairs like that, it's you're going to get random aces calling you because they just don't believe that you've got anything. Well, 5-6 for Johan. Sure, he's going to put out a little bet here. Well, he does. The only problem is his Poker Epic's not going to believe him. He's just questioning. It's just a question whether he calls or raises. He decided a flat call. Interesting. That's a pretty good flop for a pair of nines. Okay, I think we can just do one more hand and then we'll see if there are any emails going. Okay, so this is going to be the last hand beforehand, is it? In fact, I tell you what, let's go straight to the email now, I think. There's not much happening there. We've got the aces there, but they've got no competition, so Johan's going to find out very shortly that his queen 10's no good, I think. And, well... got an inside straight draw, not much going on, and Poker Epic will want to round this up now. There's a possible club. Well, he likes that, but he won't like it if a king appears. Or a 9 for that matter. 9, will that do it as well? Yeah. 8, 9, 10, jack, queen. Well, it's a case of slow playing, I think. But he was unlucky as well. Johan takes down aces again, James. That's twice he's taken down aces.
My God, they're getting
Queen
cracked.
10 and ace king he did it with, didn't he?
Wow.
Yeah, so there you are. You need a bit of luck in this game, huh?
They're getting cracked all over the shop tonight.
Are they? Yeah. Okay, we've got an email. Quick one, James. Hi all, just wondering if any of the presenters are going to the Scottish Open in the Maybury, as I'll be dealing it and would love to maybe have a chat in person about poker with one of the presenters. I don't go that far, James. It's a bit far for me.
I've played there a few times. It's very nice in Maybury. They normally put on a great buffet, and it's a good tournament. I enjoy it.
Are you going to be playing?
If I'm... it's one of the places I could well be going to, yeah.
Yeah, when is it? Do you know?
I'm going to have to check up the dates.
Yeah, it's
Actually,
unlikely
we'll
I'll
tell
go.
you the dates in the next part of the show.
Yeah, it's unlikely I'll go, but you never know what happens. Anyway, we're going to be leaving you now for a short break. However, when you come back, we'll have James playing on the Beat the Presenter table. So don't go too far away, because we're going to be right back after this. Welcome back to Poker Night Live with myself, Mark, Prince Charles Banin, and James Browning. Now, in the last hour or so, you haven't heard much of James, and that's because, apart from oohing and eyeing, but that was because he was playing the Beat the Presenter tournament, which we'll head over to in just a moment. Before I do that, though, let me tell you how you can contact the show. You can contact me or James, but before I give you those details, there's a little idea for you. I was wondering in the break, James, yeah?
Yes.
You know, we talk about football players, how they tend to like poker, don't they?
They do.
They tend to like poker because they've got a lot of free time and a lot of spare cash, so they play a lot of poker. However, let me ask you this. Which of the World Cup teams do you think would make the best poker players? Hold on to that thought. Hold on to that thought. We're going to present that. So that's what we'd like to know. Which of the World Cup teams do you think would make the best poker players, and why, of course? So
That'd be fun.
There's a couple of ways you can do that.
Mark, I've got a bit of information for you.
Okay.
I said I was going to find out for you. We're talking, or you do your text.
All right, let me
bit.
give you the text details first. It's if you want to text in, you can do it by texting the word poker to 84222. Put your question in after that, put your name in, and myself and James will read it out live on air. As well as that, you can actually email the show, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And, of course, if you get a chance, worth having a look at our forum, which is on our website, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. So don't forget, let us know any questions that you have, of course, but as well as that, which current team in the World Cup would make the best poker players? Be an interesting one, and why, of course. Any interesting twists you might have to that one. James, you've got some information for us.
Yes, earlier on we had an email there from the gentleman who's going to be dealing at the Maybury.
Okay, yeah,
and
John, his
there's
name
a festival there. Actually, I'm going to give you details of what this is, and also for some of our viewers here, I'm actually going to give you what the format is for the week, because this will give you an idea of what a festival week is like.
Okay.
So it'll be quite nice just to see what the pattern of a festival is.
Okay.
So this would be at the Maybury Casino in Edinburgh. Very nice place to be. And it commences on June the 26th, which is a Monday. Now, on the first night, they've got what is called a Super Satellite, and that's a £50 event.
And that'll buy you into the £1,000.
And there's rebuys and add-ons, and that's to get a satellite to play in the main event. And the main event is a £1,000 event, a £1,000 double freeze out. So that's a super satellite to start with. Then on the Tuesday, they've got a no-limit hold'em freeze out, £500 freeze out, and that's a ranking tournament. In fact, all these last tournaments are all ranking tournaments. A super satellite obviously isn't a ranking tournament, that's just to win a seat. On the Wednesday, they've got a £100 unlimited rebuys and add-on, no limit hold'em. On the Thursday, they've got a £250 unlimited rebuys and one add-on. I think that's expensive.
That sounds a bit expensive, yeah.
Midweek.
It does sound a bit expensive.
Then on the Friday, quite nice, I like this, a bit of variety. They've got pot limit hold'em.
Okay.
And that's unlimited rebuys and an add-on. That's a £100 one. And on the Saturday is the main event, which is a double chance, no limit hold'em freeze out, £1,000.
Okay.
And they finish off on the Sunday with a pot limit Omaha, which is unlimited rebuys and an add-on.
Interesting stuff.
And that's a £100 one. So that's what a festival looks like, or sounds like.
Okay.
So, and that's from Monday, 26th of June, till Sunday, the 2nd of July.
So you think you might be going to that one?
It's tempting.
Yeah, okay.
It's tempting.
Cool. So, are you ready, James?
Oh, yes.
Let's head over there. Let's head over there.
Actually, altogether, I think there might be some quite interesting parts to this sit and go. And there'll be some bits I'll be interested to see what was actually going on as well.
Yeah, I bet you will.
But
so quite a motley crew here that we've got. Double top, regular, sausages, Tragic Trev, Skinner, all these guys we've seen at some point or another.
Are you au fait with the dogs and cats theme?
No, but I was aware that they were up to doing all that stuff. But
it's on the forum as well, I believe.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably missed that one. So, double top making moves with Jack 3. Besides, that's the best way of winning it with that hand, and he's probably not wrong. Not a hand that has many flop potential. Doesn't have much flop potential at all, does it, James? Jack 3?
No, but...
If you're going to play it, might as well play it strongly from the beginning, get rid of it if you decide that you want to play it.
But I don't want to play it.
No, I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to either. Well, double top, the early aggressor, he's picked up the straight now. So it's looking very good for him. He's got the nut straight there. 4-6 being the best possible hand.
Yes, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The only thing that's missing really is 4-6 of hearts.
And what he'd love, of course, would be someone else to have a 4.
Yeah, that would be great for him, but...
it wasn't to be.
No, Willie Wall, absolutely nothing, so I'm sure he'll just get rid of this unless he thinks that he can try and represent more than what he has. And lucky for him, he didn't try and do that. Double top making some early ground. So far he's taken a small chipped lead. He's been active on the table. Tragic Trev. What's he going to do? 4-7 suited. Not a great hand. How I went out of the World Series. No, that was how I went out of Australia. 4-7 suited.
What happened?
Oh, it's a long story. I was... this was on the final table, and we're down to the last 5. I could have snuck into 4th. I had a chip lead over the 5th place guy, a little bit of a chip lead, but I was way behind the first 3. So I decided that I needed to accumulate chips, and the only way I was going to do that was by re-raising. So
Right.
Tony Bloom was playing very aggressively. He'd come out with a bet. I re-raised him for about half his stack, and he called me with ace-10.
Wow.
And that was the end.
Yeah. Tough call for him.
Yeah, I thought so, but he seemed to be quite happy to do it. It was for quite a lot of money.
Interesting one here. We've got a raise from Skinner there, under the gun with ace-jack. And we've got Tragic Trevor who's got ace-king.
What should he be doing here, James?
Well, I think if he's going to play this...
I mean, I don't actually mind a flat call in this stage of the tournament, personally. He's gone for a minimum raise. I really don't mind a flat call with ace-king. He's got still a lot of people behind him.
What he's done here, he's actually captured... He's secured position, hasn't he? He's secured position, he's stolen position on Skinner. He's got rid of everybody else. He's virtually taken over the button in seat 4.
Yeah, and plus he's done one other thing, James, as well, which is very important. He's taken a betting lead.
He has taken the betting lead, yeah.
So he can quite rightly... Now, this doesn't make sense, really, does it? I mean, Tragic Trev, I was going to say, he's read it very well. It doesn't make sense. Why would you possibly take the betting lead from me when I've got it? You know, if you had a hand, you'd let me bet and then re-raise me. Why would you do that? So he's read it well.
He has read that well, hasn't he?
Yeah, 4-2-4. The only thing that Tragic Trev has to worry about is whether he's got an overpair to that 4s. Yeah. So nice bit of play there from Tragic.
Or any pair.
Yeah, absolutely. Or any pair, absolutely.
Yeah, well read, Trev. I thought it was very good. 7-9 for Browning. I had a spate of cards which were absolutely...
Yeah, I mean, you realised, obviously, that 7-9 is not the 7-8, so...
No, I know. I was looking out for the 7-8. I never got one.
Are you sure, James? We're all-knowing, all-seeing here.
I know that. Well, as far as I remember, I'm sure I'd have noticed if I'd had a 7-8, surely.
Well, just as well you didn't hear, you would have hit second pair. And Skinner is trying to get double top 2. He knows he's an aggressive player.
I quite like that. Play by Skinner. I think that's playing the opponent. I think that's good play, Skinner.
Yeah. And he decided, well, my hand's nice, but it is only one pair at the end of the day. I don't know what else you might have. Maybe you've got a 7-8 in your hand. If you are, I don't want to make it too cheap for you to hit your 7 or 8. And double top is going to give it up, and he made a little play at it, didn't succeed, so he lets it go, and that's fair enough. And he got out of that one pretty cheap. Double top, lucky the ace didn't come. That would have caused him a lot of trouble.
Monkey boy. don't think he's going to be playing with that. Browning 5-3.
James, 5-3 and a cut-off. That's a raising hand. Surprised at you.
Well, blinds 10-20. We know it's not a raising hand. Delighted to pass it. And it makes no difference these stages, it doesn't matter.
No, absolutely. There's no point stealing 10-20.
These people are making plays, the ones who are getting hands here. And quite a lot of hands flying around.
Yeah, double top's had a few, hasn't he?
Yeah. And Skinner.
Ace King, Ace Queen, we've seen him have. And you're still, and you've got more than double top, even though you haven't played.
Yeah.
It just shows you.
It does show you, yeah.
Yeah. The double top's been playing in about 4 or 5 hands, and he's still got less than James. So there you are. Don't always need to play.
9-4, no choice again.
No, not much of a hand there.
And Ace-10 was passed by Firminer.
Yeah, he had an under-the-gun limper there. He's wondering what he's limping under the gun with. So he decided not to take any chances.
What's Tragic Trev think about it?
I think he might have a look for 20, mightn't he? Don't think there's any harm having a look for 20.
Oh, he's made it 78.
That's his birthday.
In memory of your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably what he's trying to tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very crafty. He should have been an encoder, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
Well, 6-7, Tragic Trevi's no doubt going to put out a bet here. I think he's put out a continuation bet. He's not likely to get...
178.
Yeah, you see, I knew he was saying earlier, Tragic Trev, that he prefers King Queen, but I knew he didn't. I knew he had a thing for 7-8.
7 Jack, I don't like that. Offsuit.
So you've been a bit card dead so far, James.
Very card dead so far, but it's no problem, is it? Still 1970.
Yeah.
Pair of 3s for Skinner.
Limp or raise?
I think the limp's fine there.
Yeah.
See if we can get
boosting the pot up a little bit. Getting a betting lead.
Blinds. I don't want to because the blinds are too small, and then I just don't want to end up in a big pot with a pair of 3s, really.
Well, this is going to be interesting because Tragic Trevor's
That's
made it
78.
78 again. And Skinner will probably call him for the extra 58, I think. I think he's going to fold this.
But what happens next? That's the problem. You're really calling here. There's no card you like in the flop. I think you should pass it because you just don't like any card in the flop. You have to hit it. You're 7.5 to 1 to hit your 3. That's the only card you're going to like. Any other card, it's going to be horrible. You're just playing a guessing game out of position. I think it's a good pass. I just
You
think
like the pass?
I do like the pass. I just think you're just playing in the dark. We know it could win, but you're really out of control. You just don't know what's going on. You can't know what's going on because you can never tell any of the cards have hit your opponent.
Unless, of course, it's the flop is 2-4-4. Then you're pretty comfortable with your 3s.
Well, unless your opponent's already got a pair. You don't know that either. You're still not that comfortable because Trev could have had a pair.
Well, Willie Wall.
Could have had the pair of 8. So I think it was. I think he did it right there. I think he tried to limp in with 3s. It didn't work. He just got rid of it.
Yeah.
Now we can try it again another time, maybe.
I think I would have put a little raise pre-flop myself with it. I think too big, just to take the betting lead, build a pot.
With a pair of 3s, I don't know why you. I think that's different to what you've been saying before, really, because you don't want to. Why do you want to build a pot with a pair of 3s?
Because I'm slightly out of position, so I want to try and get the button for a start.
Yeah, but you've got time. You don't need to do anything desperate. Why take a risky play where you don't need to take it?
Well,
it's early stages.
I like to try and accumulate chips early on, and it means playing a more of a variety of hands, personally.
It's just a lot of risk, and you're not going to win the tournament there. You're not going to do anything. You know, it's just not going to be. You're not going to be that confident with the hand anyway. I don't think you are going to win a big pot with it. Only if you hit a 3.
Well, King Jack for Firminer. What's he going to do? He's had a little minimum raise there. He decides to fold for 40. Yeah.
Early stages, I'm not against that either. I think he's... Oh, King Queen for Browning.
Oh, your favourite. Is it going to be unraised though? Let's have a look. Double top.
I'm still all right. He just limped in.
Yeah. So far so good for James. How he likes it.
King 9 limped in. That's the sort of hand King Queen likes. Limps in.
Yeah. So James limps in with his King Queen.
I got my wish.
Land of the unraised pot and all
and now
that.
I've got one of the ones I like, because it could be the King 9. That's the sort of person you get there, but not if they hit the 9, of course.
No.
But it's all right, because it didn't hit. It's when they hit the King, that's where the King Queen gobbles up those opponents.
Yeah. The only thing is, of course, it's not big odds on hitting that King. Once again, it's going to be around, what, 7.5 to 1, of course.
Well, no, but if you want someone else to have the King as well, it's worse.
Yeah. Of course, if you're taking that as into the formula, absolutely. So, King 9 is looking good. He didn't like that extra club appearing, though. And he decided, well, I haven't got much of a hand to redraw to, so I might as well just get rid of it. And he'd done probably the safest option, I think. Skinner with his kings. How can I get paid on this, he's thinking? Well, I'd try and make it look like a steal. Frederick Trev has been fairly... not aggressive, I won't say aggressive, but he's been fairly aggressive at the table, so you might have got a call from him, but aggression doesn't mean loose play, generally speaking.
8-3 this time for me. Another one of the block.
So you've been playing fairly conservative, James, up to now. I won't say conservative. Well, you haven't had any cards.
I haven't had any cards. I really haven't had any cards. Apart from King Queen's the only one to be played, and that was wonderful. I only lost the minimum on it. I played the hand in position, the best position, for 40. So it was a bargain. It was a bargain basement. So it cost me nothing, and I had a chance. Could have had a draw to hit something good. So I was very pleased with that. So I haven't squandered anything there, but would like to pick up a hand.
Well, James is still waiting. All the hands seem to be going elsewhere at the moment. Queen 7's not one of those.
Ace 10's just limped under the gun. Skinner, King Jack, and the cut-off. No, it's tragic. Trev, you'll leave that one. Sausages, horrible 9-2. We talked about that earlier. Decides not to make up the small blind. I think he's right. He'd have hit his 9, but it'd be no good. Double top's got a 10. And so is Wily Wolf, who's got the 10 with the real kicker. So this is the problem here. Now double top, we'll see what happens here. You see? He's on the blind, he's got a suspect hand, 10-5.
Yeah. Well, he didn't pay any extra for it, did he, though?
No, I'm just saying the type of hand you get in the blinds.
Yeah.
Because people would make that up in the small blind sometimes. No,
10-5 is not a hand you make up in a small blind.
No, but people do. The people who make up the small blinds all the time end up with, double top, though, however, is going to win with it, probably.
Well, will he put this down? Will he what?
I don't know. Well, it's a very big bet from double top.
What's he saying? He's saying he's got 9-4 or something? He's basically saying, I've got 9-4 in the big blind.
No, he's come back over the top. He doesn't believe him.
Yeah.
He tried double top.
Yeah.
But I'm sure double top will put this down now.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of chips though, hasn't he, James?
He has. But what I'm saying is that is a good example of these awkward hands. You've got to try extreme measures to win with them.
Yeah, of course.
And it's very difficult.
Of course it is, absolutely.
It's very difficult. And so, basically...
Look, double top's got the 7-8 suited.
Oh, it's not. That doesn't count, does it?
No, not really.
I had another one. That's another garbage there. Tragic Trev, 6-7 suited.
7-8 for him. Was he going to have a laugh and put 7-6 this time? 76. He can't put 76, in fact, can he? No.
Why not?
Because the blinds are 40.
Oh, yeah, of course, sorry. You've got 176.
Yeah. So the blinds are now at 20-40, so...
I've got a lovely 3-5 this time, Mark.
James, 3-5, you're playing the wrong hands, I think. Of course, 3-5 is not a good hand in any situation.
Double top there, on the button with ace. Now, he's a bit short stacked. Yes, he's putting a raise. I think he needs to do that.
He needs to win those blinds now. They mean something to him, don't they? So he's up to 860.
And that was position he had there, and he used that. I think that was fair enough. We're only on the second level, however, and I'm not bothered at all that I've not got anything yet.
Yeah, still 1850, so plenty of play for you, James, at the moment. And Skinner has done probably the right thing, made it 3 times. The big blind, 120, pair of sevens. He's in an early position. He can't really afford to limp in there and have to deal with a re-raise. So he's asking a question up front. And James with a jack 3.
Says no thanks.
Suited or not suited, doesn't want to know. Well, James has got some kind of playable hand here, but he's a small blind, and he's probably not going to see it for the minimum, because double top is probably likely just to push all his chips in or something, or make a big bet.
Yep, he's put in the bet, so...
Yeah, no one can
If
call
I'd
him
ended
yet.
up against the big blind, I could well have had a look with the 7-6. Because it at least connected, I might have just even had a look. Or attempted to make up the blind, see what he did, see how he reacted. If he raised me, just throw it away. But could have just tested the water of how I was going to be dealt with by the big blind. So if I had just been against him, that's probably what I would have done.
Okay.
Monkey Boy's got ace-10 in latish position there, in the cut-off.
Yeah, which is not going to give you an opportunity to do anything from the button, probably. And in fact, Willie has got a pair of 2s, and he starts to limp in. Do you fancy limping in here with 5-6? No.
No.
You don't want to try and accumulate chips. Sort of on the button, you got position. No.
I just 6-5 off suit. I think if possibly if I had a few more, if it was 6-5 suited, I might be more tempted. I want to have at least.
Right. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Cass plays sort of a similar way to the way I'm suggesting. He would limp in with that situation, definitely.
6-5 offsuit.
Oh, in the sit and go, yeah. Yeah, in the early stages, he's looking to accumulate chips while the blinds are low. Whereas, and I've changed my methodology in as much that I used to play very similar to the way you were playing, the way you play,
Right.
or your methodology in terms of play tight early on. Don't take too many chances. Let a few people knock each other out, and then start beating them up later. James, will you? I don't think you're going to be in the unraised pot here. Monkey Boy, what's he going to do? Well, he's just limped.
So I just call.
Yeah.
Now surely Skinner's going to raise though.
Yeah. Sure he will.
He does.
I just wonder if you had raised, whether he would have raised or whether he was just flat call.
He'd re-raise me.
You think he'd re-raise you?
Maybe.
Yeah, you never know, do you?
Or he'd have called me, and now I wouldn't be enjoying it.
No.
Because...
He could be calling you ace queen or ace king.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm back in the area of not knowing where I am. Or you could have the pair.
Yeah, well, it's worked out pretty
Anyway,
nice
I passed it. It's worked out very well for me again.
Yeah.
So it again got me away from trouble.
Yeah. James, you're like a snake in the grass, in a way. You sort of, you're in there 1 minute and then you disappear the next.
Yep, and avoided the trouble both times, so it's good.
Well, Monkey Boy better hope that a 6 doesn't appear, because that would be really horrible for him.
It'd be expensive if that 6 arrives.
Yeah, he'll lose all his chips. Or certainly a big portion of them. No, hasn't arrived, so he's managed to avoid. Doesn't look particularly scary board for him though, does it? 7-8 Jack. There's the overcards there. Nothing that screams out danger. He might just flat call here. I don't blame him for flat calling. Whilst, but what would he be re-raising unless he thinks that he's completely at it? He decides that he must have a hand. And, well, look at this, James. We've got a pair of 8s twice, a pair of 4s, and a pair of queens.
Unbelievable.
James, I think you better check out your odds. 16 to 1, you said. It's not 16 to 1. Look, there are 4 of them here.
They make it look easy. I thought it was really difficult to get a pair, though. I thought it was about 100 to 1. That's what it felt like to me. At that time.
Wow,
So this is interesting here, isn't it? We've got the big aggressor with the pair of 4s, being very aggressive with a small pair.
And you know what, James?
And
He's just unlucky that Monkey Boy's got such a big hand, because I think.
Well, Sausages is called before Monkey Boy.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that Monkey Boy's probably going to raise here, I guess.
No, but he's unlucky anyway, because Sausages is called as raise.
Yeah, no, what I mean is.
Look at this, he's called the re-raise with a pair of 4s.
Yeah, no, my point is though, James, is that Sausages would have called, and then likely, well, in fact it hasn't worked out that way, but what would happen is that you'd get 2 overcards to the 8s, and now he can put out, as he's got position, he can represent.
Well, how could he call the re-raise? I mean, the 4 should have been gone.
Maybe he was going for implied odds, James. He was thinking, well, it's another 160 into
he hasn't
a
got,
13, into a 1200 pot. No?
No, it doesn't work out, does it? I mean, you haven't got enough chips for that, have you? I don't know, it just...
Well, he's getting pot odds to call. About 1100, 160 was the raise. He's into about 1100, 700, 400. He's got more or less pot odds to call. To hit his set, that is.
Okay.
Very close anyway, it wasn't a lot far behind, and certainly the implied odds would have taken it over. It was marginal decision, wasn't that far off. But the only problem is...
I'm just going to see, that was a pre-flop, the re-raise, yeah.
Yeah, because he made it 400.
Yeah, okay, no, he probably has actually.
160
yeah.
into, what, 1100 odd? Yeah.
So he'd made it... How much did he make it to start with?
240.
240.
And the other guy made it 400.
720.
There's 3 of them in there.
Yeah, but the other guy hadn't called yet.
No, yeah, he'd called a 400.
No, because Monkey Boy made it 400.
Oh, sorry, you're right. He hasn't called yet, so
He
there's no
hadn't called
guarantee.
yet.
So it was all right. It was about...
He's not getting odds.
About 900 in the pot, so he was getting a little bit short. It was about 200 short, but the implied odds, I think, would have taken it over that anyway.
There's 880 is on the bets, up to him. Yeah. He's only getting 5.5 to 1. And
Although it's unlikely that sausages will fold for the 160.
wait, why? He doesn't know that.
No, but he's got in.
No, but he didn't.
It's unlikely.
Yeah. Well, he might re-raise.
That's a possibility. But
And
he didn't make the original re-raise. So
he must know he's behind anyway.
Yeah.
So I think his only thing is he's praying to hit a 4 then when he calls. Okay, he will get implied odds if he hits his 4. So maybe there, for the sake of that, maybe he just has to put that 160 in.
Yeah.
Begrudgingly.
I think so, yeah.
And just hopes to ping the 4, because he can say, well, I will, and sit and go here, I'll get all my chips in now if I hit that 4.
If he hits that 4, then...
Yeah, no, I think he's probably right to call that 160. I just think he's wrong for overplaying a small pair.
I think he did overplay it, though, I agree with you. I think re-raising there, I think, see a real
When
point.
the blinds are that small, I just think he's wrong for overplaying a small pair. But
Interesting, though. Interesting hands.
oh, I think I must have done something there. What happened?
Well, you're on the big blind with 80. Blinds have just gone up to 48. I know, they've been up for a few hands now, so they're probably going to go up shortly. And Tragic Trev's holding one of your other favourite hands, the suited version. The dreaded King 8. Oh, look, I think he's picking on you, James.
Well, I was suited, wasn't I?
Were you suited that time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think Tragic Trev's realised that Mr. Brown's playing a conservative game, taking advantage of that. Naughty boy. Risky, though, because he's not really in that much of a position to steal your blinds. Sort of quite away from you. But probably doing it for the sake of the TV, I guess.
Pair of queens.
Weren't you tragic? Well, pair of queens again. It's sickening, I suppose, when you're watching it, James. You're getting queens.
I can't believe how many pairs I've
And you've had nothing.
6-3 again. No, I've had my 2 king queens.
Well, at least it's not getting you in trouble with something like ace
No,
queen,
that's
I
true,
guess.
and I still am. Okay, I've just now a little bit...
What we'll do for a 7-8 here, huh?
And I couldn't understand this play with the queen king by Firminer.
No.
What? Just how can you lose all your chips on that? That was horrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
I mean, at least I wasn't first out, I was thinking.
I think everyone's had a decent hand, apart from you, James, by the looks of it.
My time will come, maybe.
Well, pair of aces now. And what did you have there? Did you see?
Yeah, 6-9 off
6-9,
suit.
all right. Then I think there, and Willie takes down with his aces. Probably wanted some action there.
And now, I actually, funny enough,
This probably looks like a monster to you.
It did, and I was a bit annoyed with myself here, but anything comes before, I'm not doing it, but I've just decided if they're passing, I'm going to try something. Because
Well, I don't blame you, really. What's wrong with that? You're in the cut-off.
I just still think it's too... I don't think I need to do it yet.
Right, okay.
Because
But this is the problem. You had no hands, James. So now you've played 30 hands.
I know, and I just thought, well, maybe I'll get a bit of respect now because I haven't done anything. So I think a raise now has got a good chance of them passing, unless they've got a hand.
Yeah,
and I think now, if they play now, they've definitely got a hand. That's what I believe. Because I haven't done anything. So now I get called. So I believe he's got a hand. I'm suspicious now.
Maybe he's calling you with a big hand, huh?
When he bets. But now, I put it down quite easy.
Yeah.
But as it happens, I'm losing anyway. And I know that my hand's not very good anyway, so it doesn't take much to realise. But I think I have a lot of fold equity there because I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
But of course, it's knocked me down to 14.30.
Yeah, you're unfortunate. You're in the cut-off and you walked into ace-king. Yeah, I think that's unfortunate.
But I didn't fall in love with it, and I put it down and still said I can still win it from here, from 14.30.
Especially as Willie folded an ace as well.
Yeah.
It still comes out. Oh, there you go.
So there's another garbage one there.
Yeah, so...
so now it's looking a bit... I'm in a bit of trouble now.
Yeah, you are in a bit of trouble. I was going to say... So you're
14.30.
You got about 16, 17 times a big blind. So...
still okay, though.
Yeah.
Still
at this stage, you've just made the phone call to the doctor. You're not in intensive care yet. You just rung him up just to see if he's available, if he's working tonight.
I still felt okay, though. Still thought there's still time.
Now, double top. I think this could be a trouble for him, yeah. He's moved in, and he's going to get looked up from Monkey Boy.
And look what he's gone in with.
Yeah, he's gone in with...
7-8.
Well, Monkey Boy doesn't need too much to think about this, I don't think. 5.20 to call, he can easily afford it. He's got a big hand, button still. He has called. So double top needs a bit of help here. He needs a 7 or 8 to appear, and it's not looking good for him. And no, the ace-queen takes it. Well, double top was playing very actively early on, and he was a bit unlucky with a 10-5. Hit top pair, but we saw that Willie had made a better top pair. And a bit unfortunate there. I mean, 7-8 against ace-queen.
Oh.
A little less than 2 to 1, around 65%. 62%, 63%, something along those lines, James? 7-8 against ace-queen.
I had a hand, and I'm thinking, sorry, I've got a hand there, king-jack suited, and I think, oh, well, maybe. Anyway, they pass. I get a walk. Sorry, what was the question there, Mark?
Ace-queen against 7-8. Offsuit, both offsuit. Around 63%, 37, something like
that? Yeah.
So, Queen-Jack for Monsieur Browning. Quite a nice little hand on the blinds. Decided to limp in. Don't blame him with that. And once again, he's missed. He's picked up a hand and he's missed. I mean, he's certainly... the ratio of cards is not in your favour here. That's for sure. Been very much against you. And when you've had any kind of hand, you've missed anyway. So, trying to see if it's worth putting out. This is the kind of rubbish you might have. And he's put out a nice bet here. I like this bet. He's made a pot-sized bet, and this is the kind of rubbish you can have in the blinds. Now, Skinner's wondering whether he should try a big re-raise here. No, he says, I've done it so many times now, I'm not sure if I'll get away with it again, so I'll just let it go. So, nice play there from James.
I just thought it looked like a bet where I wasn't frightened. I thought, come on, play. It looked like it wasn't too scary a bet. I wasn't desperate. Yeah.
Skinner's done it so many times to you. You thought, okay, well, not Skinner. Trev, wasn't it, was doing it before. So Skinner thought, well, could have that 8.
Tragic Trev there has walked into ace-king.
You see, that's the problem when you don't bet the proper amount. This time he's only done it 5-3-8. Had he have done 7-7-8 or something, he might have got away with it. So he's got called, and he would prefer to have 7-8 in his hand now. That would have at least given him something. Instead, well, he shows no fear, that boy, does he?
No fear. King 3. It was starting to look quite good.
Yeah, they do play tricks on you after a while, and you keep getting rubbish garbage all the time.
I had to go like this, stop it. It looked quite good.
Like it wasn't suited then, James, you would have been in real trouble.
I like everyone else's hand better, though.
Yeah, although looks like Skinner is going to take this one with the Queen 10.
Yeah, it's hard for Trev to call and hard for Sausages.
Yeah, with
King 7 suited,
and
hard
out
to
of
call
position.
with.
Yeah.
You gain a hand which is easier to bet with than call with.
Yeah, that's true.
3-4, no thanks.
Well, we've lost 2 players, down to 6.
Yeah, that's okay. That helped. It thinks well.
Now, this was a $5 tournament, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, so $5, which means there's $40 in the prize pool. First prize is $20, second is 12, and third is 8. So nothing for fourth. This is a knockout tournament. You start off with 2,000 chips, and when you lose those, you're out. No rebuy back in. Top 3 prizes only. 8, 12, and $20 respectively. So don't forget, if you want to contact myself or James, you've got a little over an hour to do so. Text the word poker to 84222. Put your question in and your name, and myself and James will read it out live on air. That's 84222. Text the word poker. Alternatively, if you want to do it another way, you can do, and you can do it by luxury of email. Email address is poker@pokernightlive.co.uk.
Ooh, sausage is passed, but now the button raises.
Don't think you can call, can you?
No, I can't.
Can't call with one.
Not with 8-6, looks horrible.
Yeah, the blinds are getting a bit expensive now.
Yep.
Yeah, so that email address, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. So this must look like a monster to you now, James. A6.
Well, I'm waiting to see what's going on. I mean...
Yeah. And I like this play by James, and I like it very much. I don't want to give the other guy a chance to come back over the top of me with A6, you know, or with King Queen or something like that, and then I get unlucky.
8-8, he's going to find it hard to call with an 8-8, isn't he? I mean,
yeah.
So I want to get rid of those hands.
Good. So good move there by James. Exactly the right move. No small bets. Just a proper all-in bet. If the guy wants to call you for all his chips, let him do so.
Yeah. And that's useful. It's got me back to 15.50 again, which I needed.
Yeah, bought you a bit of time, hasn't it? Another 240 onto your stack. You're down to 13.10. So that's just under 10%, more than 10%, what am I saying?
Yeah.
Wow, so yeah, that's made a big increase to your stack. About 15% or so. Sausages gets a walk there.
Hooray!
You've got a hand. Jacks. Now, this would be interesting. What are you going to do here, James? You want action here, I take it?
Yes, I do a small raise. I think I want someone to play with me. I need to try and get some chips. So I just make the small raise.
Well, Skinner's decided he wants to play with you too.
And the 3-5ers as well.
The 3-5.
And I've hit the jack.
So that's looking pretty good now. Are you worried about the spades or the
No, I'm not
Queen
worried
Jack?
about the spades at all, but I want someone to play with me, so I actually decide to put in a bet. Because if someone's got a spade draw, they'll come along. If someone's got a queen, maybe they'll come over the top of me. But no one's got anything.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you can make it for free, can you? Not with
No,
two spades and not with a Queen Jack.
No,
Someone
anyway,
could
I
be sitting
think
there with King 10 or
if
something.
This is a hand where they could have a draw. They could have a straight draw, flush
That's
draw.
what I mean, yeah.
I don't care if they get it and make it. I just want to get some money from it. So I put a little bet in there, but as it happens, if I check, it's the same thing as well. So.
Yeah. No, I think you've done the right thing there. You don't want to see...
Also, I would make it look a little bit weak in case someone might fancy coming over the top of me. If they'd connected, they might come over the top.
Mm-hmm. Tragic Trev, persisting with his 4-7, this time with his 4-7-8. I bet he's sitting there at home now, giggling away as he sees his little 7-8 bets coming out. I bet he's having a right laugh to himself. Aren't you tragic?
So that took me over the 2,000 barrier again, so before. Oh, and I got a walk. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so this is starting to look nice for you now. For 1 minute you were sort of phoning the doctor, and now you don't need him anymore.
Now there's a raise here from Sausages under the gun, and I've come over the top.
Yeah, so decided that if he's got aces or kings, bad luck. And they're quite...
or if he's got a pair, he might put it down.
Yeah, and Sausages does put it down. He can't call with his pair of threes.
And that's the power of the ace-king. It's good for it's good for raising and re-raising, but it's not so good for calling with.
No, terrible.
Calling there, I'm underdog against the threes. But raising, I've got the power to put them down.
Yeah,
and if he calls,
it's good for fold equity.
I've got ways out. I'm never going to be too bad.
Yeah.
But I think that was the right play there.
Yeah, no, it was the right play, absolutely.
Sometimes people try to be too tricky with the ace-king. Well, yeah, being tricky against the threes, you just let you're making hard work. You're going to have to get lucky to win it now. You're underdog.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think you've done so far so good.
Now I've got ace-7 suited. I decided to just do a flat raise this time to vary it.
Okay. I think I might have just pushed in here, especially with the amount of chips he's got left.
I think I've got the best hand here because if he's going to call me here.
So you don't mind him?
No, because it was also tragic, Trev. If in case he had a big hand, he had me covered.
Right, gotcha. Okay, well that's fair enough. So if he goes all in, you probably fold.
Anyway, that was quite but it was quite nice to take the blinds down for a different price there as well, because I was looking to vary my bets.
Well, this is interesting, James. You've got Tragic, he's got 6, 7, 8, but Sausages has said, you're not getting away with that. And Tragic's obviously going to call him for the extra. 342.
Tragic's hit the king straight away.
Yeah, bang.
Oh,
bang.
and another one.
Another one, so just needs to avoid a 10.
Go on, get another one. Oh, other lines.
So, and Tragic Trev, been playing fairly well up to now, I think. He's been playing fairly aggressive, and he's picked his moments pretty well.
And we're down to 5.
Down to 5, so James is looking pretty good. He got third in chips, and looking pretty good. The other two sort of on the drip feed a little bit. Now,
I'm on the small blind.
I think there's an all-in here for you, isn't it? Yeah. Good move there by James. He could do with that 320 and make Skinner all the more weaker.
Well,
so,
to do with the 480, because once my 160's in there, it's not mine. So I've won 480.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if I pass it, it's behind. So it's 480 I win by that play.
Yeah, that's good. And, oh, look at this. He's walked into a monster.
And look at that.
He's flopped 2 pair. Gosh.
No waiting. Wiley.
Oh, dear. And that's not good for you, James, really.
No, that's a bad blow for me.
Yeah.
I would rather Trev had wiped him out.
Of course.
Now I'm in the last 4 in a great chip situation against Skinner.
Yeah.
I'm a big favourite to get the money if that doesn't happen.
And now...
So that was an outdraw for me as well as for Trev, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. So Skinner's going to push in with his hand, I think. Yeah. And Willie can't call him. And
good play from Skinner.
Yeah, had to do that. No mucking around. And no one's got anything here, so... oh, Tragic's got a pair of 5s, so he'll push in with this, I'm sure, yeah. There's no subtlety to the play anymore, James, is there? It's just a case of shoving your chips in, grabbing the 480. The blinds are fairly substantial now. 480 onto your stack is pretty nice, thank you. Or to anyone's stack. And Skinner will fold this, 7-8, as much as I like it. It's not something I really want to do. The only problem if he does fold it, he's losing 480, which will put him down to about 1,400 on the next couple of hands. So that's the only thing he has to be careful of. But he decided to fold it in that case. I can't really blame him. The only thing I'll say is that it's put him under a little bit of pressure. Just means that he'll be up to 1370 when the blinds go round.
1280 from Wiley. And I'm just checking how many chips he's got, but no, I decide.
He hasn't got that much fold equity, has he?
No, no fold equity, I think, there for me, and it's going to be too expensive for me.
Yeah, well, it's your tournament, isn't it, basically?
Yeah.
Well, ace-3, Tragic will push in here, I think. Got 4 players to beat. He could do with another 480 on his stack. He decides to. And it's a bit of brave play, but he decided that 500 is worth it.
Yeah, good play. I'm not going to try and think. I'd want these two to fight, really. I'd like Skinner to fight Tragic. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that's fair enough. 3-4 is not really.
And I'm hoping that Tragic calls.
Yeah,
and
1,200.
For that much money there,
I'm just getting less than
with
2 to 1.
9, 10.
Yeah, I think I'll let it go.
It's a tough. That's a very close decision there, because he's actually going to be knocking someone out, and he's likely to be hovering near, 40%.
Yeah, yeah. Odds-wise, it's the right decision. I'm not sure I'd like to do it though, because it brings me down to 2,000.
It does,
if I
yeah.
lose.
That's the problem, yeah.
And it puts me now on the in desperate position.
Oh, I did a raise there. I did a flat raise.
Okay, what did you have?
An ace.
Okay.
So I took the blind to the flat raise. That's taken me to 3-4-70.
Okay, so things are looking pretty good for you so far.
And now here, I don't try anything with that. I just actually put that down because I don't want to just use that small blind bet too many times. So I want to show that I can pass the small blind as well. So if I ever want to do that again, it's given it more credibility.
Okay.
It was a bad hand anyway, but I just don't want to steal regardless there. I don't need to on that one every time.
Well, blinds are getting expensive now. They've now moved up to 326.40. That's nearly 1,000 in the pot before we even started. So you've got to have a look and see what damage that 1,000 is going to do you. And James decides to make a move with King Jack. Oh, and the problem for James here is that one of the King Jack has been folded by someone else. Well, it gives you up and down.
Up, down, straight.
You need him to hit his ace or his 9.
Or a king.
Yeah, or a king, yeah. Ah, dear, very unlucky.
I've got 2-5-8. The blinds were big there. It was going to be my big blind next. King Jack's better than that. Better than average. And so I decided to push. I've walked into a big hand.
Yeah.
But now this is frustrating. I've got 2-5-8. So Wiley calls 9 Jack. Look at this. And now look at the flop. A7. I've hit top pair, 2 pairs rather. How sweet is that?
Pretty good so far.
It's lovely. I could come back from this. Look, there's 8-9-8 in the middle.
Uh-oh. Well, we know what we don't want to see, James.
But I've got a club, but someone else has got a club as well.
Gosh, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How horrible is that?
Is that cruel or not?
That is very cruel. That is nasty.
That is nasty. Because from that A7, you could easily come back from that. You've got enough.
Just a question there for you, James. You moved all in on the previous hand.
Yes.
You were under the gun.
Yeah.
You had, if the blinds came round to you,
was
that would have
big-
left you down to 2.5.
It was my big blind next time.
Yeah. Would have brought you down to 2.5 because you had about 3.5 at that point. Could you, in hindsight, have left it, do you think?
I could have left it, but I just decided that King Jack, it's a 5-seater table. People aren't going to be wanting to be calling particularly. And it's a good chance it's the best hand at the table.
Right.
Quite a good chance. It's a well above average hand, 5-handed, well above average. And I've pushed, but there's a lot of people aren't going to want to call. People aren't going to want to call with... they're not going to call with ace-6, ace-7, ace... These all rag aces, they're not going to call this bet with, because the bet's too big. I'm not desperate. This is a massive question I'm asking them. They're not calling with their rag aces. No way. I'm going to get called by a proper hand.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Yeah, and you did, unfortunately.
And I got called by a proper hand.
Ace
But
queen,
what percentage of proper hands are there? Not a big percentage.
No.
So I win that pot.
92% of the time?
Yeah.
Probably around that area.
I think I do, don't I?
You do.
I win that 90%. So now, the blind is so big, I've just captured another 1,000. Now,
Yeah. I think it's even more than 90. I think it's about 92, James.
yeah,
somewhere
okay,
in that area.
whatever. So therefore, I win it an awful lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm a straggler with no chips. It's because I've got a reasonable stack of chips there, as good as anyone else, basically, because I had more than him.
Yeah. Yeah. You're very unlucky.
So therefore, 9 times out of 10...
And what's your odds in that situation? Ace, I mean, we know that there was a king jack missing, but assuming there wasn't.
I'm 37% there.
37. Yeah.
King Jack against the Ace Queen, both off suit. I'm 30.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's
Well,
suited. Oh no, he's suited. Beg your pardon. I might be a bit down. I'll be maybe down to about. It doesn't drop that far. It drops about 35. I might be.
Yeah.
Because he was suited.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you are. We saw James in the Beat the Presenter. We're going to take a short break soon. However, let me give you a quick reminder of how you can get in contact with the show.
Let's keep that though, so we'll watch the end of that.
Yeah, we will do. We'll
Yes,
come back to that one as well. Let me give you a quick reminder of how you can contact the show. There are a couple of ways you can do it. The first way is text the word poker to 84222. There it is on your screen. Put your question in and your name at the bottom, and myself and James will read it out live on air. As well as that, you can also email the show, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And whilst we're in our break, you might want to have a little look at our forum, which is on our website, and that is www.pokernightlive.co.uk. It's a great website and lots of information on there, and it's a good place to learn. We've got an email from Warwick, James. Do you want to do that one, or shall I do it?
Oh, I don't mind if I find it.
Let's have a look. Okay, have you got it there?
It's going to do the slowest refresh in history. Come on.
All right, shall I do it then? Let's have it. I've got one here. I'll do it then. Okay, this is from Warwick, and it's regarding the World Cup squad poker players. Hiya,
right.
Peter Crouch, as he always wins heads up.
Oh, very good.
Very good one, yeah. Okay, so that's
I like that.
A nice one. Okay, so if you have any more World Cup ditties, let us know. In the meantime, it's time for me and James to have a little cup of tea, a little cup of coffee, so we'll be right back after this. Good evening and welcome back to Poker Night Live, the last stretch of the evening. You're watching Poker Night Live with myself, Mark Prince Charles Banin, and James Browning. Now, beforehand, we were watching a Beat the Presenter tournament, yes. James, and I just want to head back there and just see how...
Oh, before we do, I'm a bit excited.
Are you?
Yeah, a bit excited, because we had that one about Crouch before.
Yeah.
So it sparked me off.
Okay, go on then.
I couldn't resist. So... The World Cup theme in poker, and I haven't told him, I promise.
He hasn't told me.
The World Cup theme in poker, I think I could imagine the English striker playing poker.
English striker,
yeah,
which one?
But the only trouble is, he wouldn't be very good, and he'd always end up Owen.
Ah, dear. Time to move on back to the Beat the
One
Presenter.
more. Also, I can imagine the other English striker playing poker, but the only trouble is he's had trouble with his metatarsal and he'd always end up limping in. Boom, boom. Sorry.
Yeah. In fact, there's a couple of them that are going to be doing some limping, I think, isn't there? Okay, so limping is no good, not in World Cup and not in poker. So let's head back to Beat the Presenter tournament. So here we are, down to 4, and Willie Woll was the one that raised you, wasn't it, James? And if you're watching Willie Woll, I have a question for you. There was a time when it was 5-handed. James put out a decent raise, made it around 1,900 or so, or about 1,200 or so, and you went all in. What did you have at that time? Because we missed that one, didn't we? We seemed to skip past that one.
Yeah.
So what did you have at that time when you re-raised? So, be a curious one.
I'd got up to about 5,700 chips or something, and I actually had a pair of threes, and I actually passed it.
Yeah. So you had a pair of threes, and you're wondering what Willie Woll had.
And I'd made it, I think, 1280, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah. The blinds were either...
326.40.
Were they 326.40? Yeah. Right. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see what Willie Woll had at that time. Monkey
Boy, Jack 8. And no one's got...
Do you regret doing that with the threes and not just pushing in?
Yes, I do. No, I would. No, I think I didn't have to play it at all. Maybe.
Right.
I think I was in good chip shape. I still had enough time there. I maybe didn't have to. I think I was just thinking that I could.
Right. So you preferred not to play it, you think?
Probably.
Right. Okay. Well, we're down to 3, so this is the prizes on offer. It's a $5 tournament, which means there was $40 in the prize pool. And first prize is $20, second is $12, and third is $8. So next one out will get $8. Next one out after that will get $12.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go all in with it because I don't have to put my tournament life on the line then when I've got that many chips.
Right.
Or really get wounded. I had enough chips that I could actually still get away from my hand. So that's why I did the flat raise, which might give me the blinds. If not, if someone wants to come over the top, I can get away from it and I don't care.
Right.
Because they're likely to, at the very least, have 2 overcards to a pair of threes.
But they still have to call, that's the thing.
Or a bigger pair.
They might feel that they've got fold equity, and being that they know that you're quite a conservative player, they're likely to get away with it, unless you've got a huge hand.
Yeah, except at that time...
you won't call with ace-jack, I don't think, in that situation, will you?
I'm not sure. But the thing is, at that stage, I'd switched from being conservative, isn't it? They'd now see me get to chip leader at that stage.
Yeah.
So they'd see me now taking the blind, fighting the big blind. They'd seen quite a few things, coming over the top of a raise. So now it wasn't particularly conservative anymore.
Okay.
There'd been a switch.
Well, interesting.
But I think when you get to a big enough stack that you've got a choice, I did mention this before, this happened to me in Newcastle a couple of weeks ago.
Look at that, James. He's called with King 3 for all his chips.
Wow.
That is an incredible call. And it's worked out for him. Well, that was a very brave call from...
Very brave call.
Willie Woll.
It was a suited which swung him, I think. Yeah, probably was.
Yeah, possibly. Not sure I would have liked it, not with King 3.
Well, he's a massive chip leader now.
Having said that, I did make a call not that long ago with a similar situation, with something even worse. In fact, with that hand there, Queen 2, I think it was. And the guy had 9-5, but unfortunately hit his 9.
Well, a real hand for Willie there, ladies. And Monkey Boy's more or less committed to this pot.
Yeah, I don't think he can fold it, can he?
No.
No.
6-7 doesn't play too badly.
Well,
He'll play even better if he gets a 6 or a 7 on it. He still can do it.
No.
It's not there. And Willie's our winner.
So he's the one that raised you, that won it in the end?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so well done, Willie.
Contact us there. Let us know what you had on that one, because somehow we missed it. Or
Yeah.
either I was talking or we somehow missed it.
You talking, James? No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
Anyway.
what I was saying was, I think once you reach a certain level of chips, if this now gets beyond the all-in option, well, you don't have to do the all-in option. I think you can now revert back to a raising option, which still gives you room to get away from a hand, because this, in fact, is giving you an extra life. It's like you're like a cat with 9 lives, although you're now a cat with 2 lives. Whereas the all-in, you just got the 1 life. Now you've got this cat with 2 lives in this situation. But once you come to the nitty-gritty again, well, then there's no half measures. Then you might as well say, listen, I'm going to be committed. If I'm pot committed, I'm pushing it in now to maximise the fold equity. But if I don't have to be pot committed, then I can...
You can give yourself some room to escape.
And say, OK, I'm still alive.
OK. Interesting one there from James. We've got an email from Kyle, and this one is saying, good evening, PNL team. Good evening, Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Just wanted to get your opinion about an article that was in the Poker Player magazine where David Pomeroy, this article talks about he plays a loose, aggressive poker game, and that this seems to be the way a lot of people play in the modern day. And even though you'll get days where you lose a lot of money, you'll also get days where you win a lot. He suggests that playing loose aggressive is the way that he's going to win you the most money, whilst you have to be aware of the dangers that come from this style of play. I was wondering, as poker professionals, what your opinion is on this. Many thanks, and keep up the good work. Well, I'll give you my opinion on that, and then we'll go to James. With playing that kind of style, the one thing you do have to bear in mind is that you're going to have a much higher swing. You're going to have a much higher there's going to be a much higher variance. So you'll have wilder swings. It means that your bankroll has to be higher, basically to counteract the extra variance you're going to get from playing more hands. So it doesn't mean it must be much more swingy. Obviously, a tight player, it'll be less swingy, a little bit more stable. That's one way of playing. I tend to have a loose, semi-loose style, a semi-loose aggressive style is my style in cash games. So I'm pretty much, it's the way I prefer to play. I think you can get away with playing a tight style in a modern game. It just means that you might not get away with winning quite as much as a loose style, but it does mean that it's much easier to handle your bankroll. I mean, I think you play a fairly sort of conservative, I would say, sort of a tight, aggressive style, don't you, James?
Yes, but I mean... Yeah, but aggressive is there, and that's the important bit, is when I'm in a pot, you're going to be in a big pot with me. If I'm going to play this pot, I don't care about putting all my money in a cash game. No problems. So therefore, people know that. So therefore, they say, oh, he's got this or he's got that. That's fine, that goes in my favour anyway. Yeah. But also they'll say, well, if he's got it, then he's not going to be frightened to put his money in. Yeah. And that's the important thing. The problem is with the wider variant style, and this is where I worry about it is, and I look at around the people, I've been around a long time, and I look at the people who've come and gone and who haven't managed to be consistent winners. And at their moments, they look great. At other times, they look desperate. The problem is when you play with more swings, it's continually testing you. It's continually testing your patience, your control. There's a tendency for this player is more likely to go on tilt, and tilt is a massive danger. There's a big warning sign around the word tilt, and I think the guy who's playing loose can get into that tilt mode very easily, and that's what worries me about it. It's only a certain type of player who can really handle that style of play and still remain in business, I think.
Okay. Well, interesting stuff. So yeah, it's really up to you. You know, you've got to go with the only thing I'll finally say is it really depends on how you feel comfortable. There's no playing a loose style. You know, if it goes against your inner being, if you're not that kind of person. By the same token, it's no point trying to be conservative if you just can't play that way, because you'll just play either way, whichever way you choose. You'll just play it wrongly, and it won't fit what's going on inside your own mind and inside your own heart. So
I think Mark's point, though, is very important there. If you are playing a looser style, is really you make sure you've got the bankroll, because you have to expect to rebuy in there a lot of times some nights. And you have to have the bankroll to withstand it. If not, you are playing incorrectly, because you'll go broke.
Yeah.
You have to have the back. That's more important, and I like that point from Mark very much.
Yeah.
Because that is more important for this guy than anyone, because he will have more fluctuations.
Yeah, and there'll be bigger fluctuations.
If he's good, you can end up winning more money. That's the rosy side of it. That's good. But he will have the fluctuations. They'll be big.
Okay, cool. All right, I've got loads of emails. However, we're going to go straight to our multi-table tourney. I believe that these guys are ready and rearing to go, and we're in the bubble scenario. So let's have a look.
Bubble time.
Bubble time. Well, this is good. We've down to the bubble, so it means that we're across 2 tables, and as you can see.
No, this is just the final table, Mark.
Oh, this is the final. Okay,
there's
so
only 5 prizes.
Oh, I've got you.
That's
okay.
it. So we're on bubble time because one of these guys is going to get nothing.
Well, so let's see what we've got here.
Quite tight, has gone all in, and he's in trouble because Tony Harmon's got enough chips. He's definitely going to see him for this.
Yeah. Doesn't want anyone else involved, does he?
Ace King suited, and there's the ace.
That's all
it's
over
all
now.
over.
Yeah, his 9 does come on the end, just as well that ace came, wasn't it?
There we go.
So, ace 10 on the big blind, and he gets a walk. Well, probably glad with that. Doesn't want to really be battling with ace 10, I don't think, when he could get a simple walk. Probably just quite happy to do that. Doesn't mind doing battle with something like ace queen, ace king, but doesn't really want to do it with ace 10 if he can avoid it.
Cream Cage there is raised up with ace 9, and that's going to be good enough. Tony Harmon won't want to know that one.
You're quite right, James, he doesn't, and he folds it.
And there's an example there. He passed, was it a7, was it? Or something like that.
It was a weak ace, anyway.
A weak ace. And people will pass these at aces. So therefore, you know, when you're there, they will pass these ones because people do not want to be calling with these hands. So you are getting many a time you will be getting the better hand to put the hand down.
Yeah.
And they're not doing anything wrong by passing either, because they just don't know where they are. Because they don't know if you've got the ace, if they're dominated. They don't know where they are. It's only if they can tell that you're desperate. If it's a desperate player, then they can say, well, I can call you now because I've got you covered, and this might well be winning a lot of the time. Now, then is a scenario when they can call. But if you've got chips and you put it in...
But they can still be dominated at that point.
Yeah, they could be, yes. But then if they've got you well covered, it doesn't hurt so much, and then they'll say, I'll take that risk.
Yeah.
And
so you don't like to be dominated, James? You've gone bright red, James. What's going on? So the ace-8 making a play on the button. Suited ace-8. And 3 doesn't want to know. Don't blame him for that, because he had no fold equity. So he decides, well, I don't want to call for a pair of 3s. I'm 50-50, and that's the correct play. He's in a bit of trouble, though. He's in 5th place, and this might be the green light for Paul XF-X7 to actually start bullying all the other guys, especially the likes of Snakey and Tony, and, well, in fact, he can just bully all 3 of them, really, because none of them want to go out before Chelsea. So he might see that as an opportunity. Wow, look at this. He's, I don't think he's can fold now. He's put in the bet. He has to call for the remainder. And he's made it, what, 5,000 is that, or is that 6,000? Oh, he has folded. Well, I don't think that was a good fold, I've got to say. He's getting, well, he's getting over 3, he's getting more than 3 to 1 his money, I think. So I think he had to call for the extra there. You're not going to be, it's very unlikely you're going to be 3 to 1 behind. And you can easily afford the extra 3 or 4,000, whatever it was. So I think you had a chance there. You had a lot of equity to call there.
Well,
plus you're guaranteeing yourself a spot now. Well,
Chelsea made the move.
He did. He picks it up. Well done. Well, ace king for Chelsea. He's going to like that. He's hoping someone's going to bet, although I can't see where it's going to come from, James. Snakey might have a little go. No, he doesn't. And he's not going to like that. He really wanted to get his money in with that ace king. He felt that'd be a good opportunity.
There's Mark's hand.
7-8.
In the cutoff.
Yeah, I don't think I'll play this personally.
Chelsea just makes up the small blind with ace-3.
Yeah, I don't know why he's doing that, James. You know, he's probably got the best hand, and now he's got to bluff at it.
I think the problem is because he's against the chip leader, and he just doesn't feel that he's going to get this bullion.
Yeah.
The guy's got 70-odd thousand.
But he's got probably the best hand.
He has, but I just...
You don't think he's got a lot of fold equity, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think his fold equity is less, and I think he's aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. That is definitely a consideration.
Yeah, and I think that's what's done it. I think he otherwise...
Was it right, though?
I think he probably has to realise his fold equity is diminished quite a lot, because this guy can say, what, 10,000, so what, bang.
Yeah. Although, by the same token, he has been playing fairly conservatively, this guy. He's hardly played a hand, I don't think.
True, but that's, we're also you've got to look at that as well, then.
See him playing there with the 4s.
Because certainly he needed that. He needed the blinds in his situation, Chelsea.
Yeah, and he's actually given away some, wasn't he? Because he was in a small blind, so he's actually given away some.
He gave another 1,000 away. Yeah, actually, the thing is there, then, he did get away with limping, though, didn't he?
Did he? Yeah, he got away with limping, but he lost it on the flop.
Yeah, well...
Even though the guy had nothing.
He had some value with his limp.
Yeah, the only problem is he needs the chips, but he doesn't want to play all his hours and go out on the bubble with a hand like ace-3, I guess. But you can't think like that. You've just got to, sometimes you've got to take a leap of faith. And if it's wrong and your timing is off, so you walk into ace-king or ace-queen or something like that, or a big hand, then so be it. It's just bad luck. You can't get it right all the time.
You can't. Trip 10s, Cream Cage, he's got it right this time.
Yeah.
As long as the 6 doesn't appear. The 6s... decided.
Well, there's enough in the pot now, isn't it, to take it down, James? I will just be shoving in, I think. I'm not taking any risks.
It was a rainbow flop, though, Mark.
That's true. That's true. In fact, you've got a good point. You've got a good point. There's no risk there.
There's a rainbow flop, and with a 10-2-2, it doesn't look too...
Yeah. No,
I think that was all right, yeah.
No, you're right. That was a better play. That was a better play, yeah.
There's always going to be
some
risk.
I get so paranoid sometimes with these hands.
I think because you've had a few of these recently.
Yeah.
I think... there's always going to be some risk. You know, if he's got a pair, he's going to be on a 2. He might have a bigger pair or something. But in this case, because he's actually got the pair will still give him a house. So he's got 2 outers he's against, possibly. So there's some risk, but there's going to be some risk in whatever you do. So.
Oh, look at this, James. We've got Snakey and Chelsea battling it out now for Bubble Boy. And... and
doesn't want to see a diamond.
Well, he's climbing.
He survived it.
Yeah, and now Chelsea is perhaps wondering whether he should have made that move with the ace-3.
But he's on the button now, so he's got a chance to just maybe find a hand. Snakey, now, he says, oh, goodness, you give me a hand. OK, well done. He just didn't worry about the bubble.
Haven't you?
Yes, you have, yes.
He needs that 3,000.
And
he's now given himself a nice cushion over Chelsea.
And also, his bet actually looked stronger because people could see, oh, my goodness, he wasn't bothered about the bubble and wanted to bet. He's more likely got a hand.
Mm.
So it actually makes him look stronger.
Well, this is a difficult situation for him. Decides not to call. Extra 5,000 with King 7. Curious. Might be, I think I would have called with that personally, but there you are. Tony Harmon, 10-2, probably wants to wait for a better opportunity. Cream Cager is 10-6, I'm sure he'll wait. Yeah, and Snakey is slamming his fist down on the table. Probably wanted some action with his ace-queen there. And as you can see, you don't get hands like ace-queen very often. You can see the rubbish that's out there now. Jack-7, Queen-3, 10-6, Jack-9 and 6-9, all hands that you really don't want to put any money in with. Although Cream can possibly do it here because Chelsea hasn't got many chips, so you might want to bully him somewhat. And instead he just gets a walk, never mind. So Tony Harmon doesn't want to play ace-3, I don't blame him, that's an early position, he's not desperate, doesn't need to play that hand. He's still got two people below him. And he's done it again, Chelsea. Well, look, he's actually been raised all in by Paul with nothing. Wow. He's playing too weak, Chelsea, I'm afraid.
Well, he's using his big stack there, Paul, isn't he?
Yeah. He just played too weak, didn't he, Chelsea? Much too weak. Oh, Tony likes this. Is he going to get any action off Paul? I doubt it. No. Paul just won a hand, and he probably thinks, I won my hand for a couple of rounds, I don't need to do anything now. Buys him a little bit of time. Probably just wants to keep ahead of the game. Might decide to put out a little bet here.
He does. It makes it 6,000, 3 times the big blind. And that'll be good enough.
Yeah, Cream Cage can't do anything with 3-6. And Paul knows that none of them want to go out before Chelsea or Snakey. Tony and Cream Cage don't want to do that, that's for sure. Well, Tony is wondering when his opportunity to steal a blind is going to happen. He hasn't had many of them. And Cream Cage has decided to put a little bit of pressure on Snakey, and he's turned to nick the blinds, and he does so. Well done by Cream Cage. Minimum risk, just put double the bet in. And Tony might want to go now. He doesn't, he still waits. And Chelsea can't call this. He can't go over the top because he knows he's got no fold equity. And Snakey just strengthens his position over Chelsea. So a nice brave bet there. And like he needs it, James. Paul on the big blinds, he needs the aces.
Bullets for the chip leader.
And gets a walk with them. Part of the problem of being chip leader. So, still 5 players left. Lots of action. Jack-9 against 5-10. Tony's wondering what he's limped in with. So he said, OK, let's have a look at a flop. And that's a nice one for Paul. And he's just going to come straight out. Betting, he's made it a pot-sized bet. He knows he's got the lead at the moment. Doesn't need to play around.
Well, he's got another hand now. Ace-Jack. Here we go again. Raise from Paul. Chelsea presses the all-in button. queens for Chelsea on the big blind, but doesn't look like there's any opposition out there. Nope, it's a walk, but I'd like to have had action with that hand.
Good. Do one or two emails while we're watching this, James.
Good idea.
I'll just wait for this hand to take part. We'll do it so when we don't see any nice hands. We've got a nice hand from Snaky.
Oh, we've got action here though.
Yeah.
Tony's decided to make a move, but his timing is off because he's going to get called by Snaky. Oh, but he's flopped a flush.
James, what do you know? What do you know, James?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
well, Snaky goes out. He's very
brutal
unfortunate
there. He's got a pair of tens against ace four. He's even got the 10 of clubs in his hand
to make it even
to
harder.
detract the hand from Tony. And he reeled off 4 clubs on the flop just to start with to make it look easy. There's 3, and I could have got another if I wanted.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That was unbelievable. Gosh.
Goodness me. Unbelievable.
What was the odds of that, James? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm just looking because he actually owned that club as well. Yeah, he was
68.
67%. Yeah, well, half a percentage they're going to be tying.
Well,
It was ace four he had, was it?
ace four of clubs.
Yeah, because he had the straight possibilities. That's why it's gone up. The 4 helps him.
Well, James, look, he's taking him on. Oh, and he's doubled up. Oh, the 10s have come out again, James. Look, 3 10s this time for Chelsea. Okay, so we're watching a multi-table tournament. This is a table where I think 44 runners started. We're down to the last 4. All get some prize money, and prize pool was 44 times 5, 220.
Well, no, there's rebuys and
Oh, there
add-ons.
was rebuys and add-ons, wasn't there? Quite right. Yeah. So it's probably going to be a little more than that, isn't it?
Definitely.
And just to give you some idea of what that was, first prize is going to be $256. In fact, total prize pool was $640.
Yes.
First prize was $256, second $153, third $102, fourth was $76.80, and fifth was $51.20. So Snaky getting that 5th place, I believe. Yes, he did indeed. Paul looking pretty comfortable at the moment, although he's now got Tony and Cream Cage starting to breathe down his neck. And Chelsea has looked the healthiest that he's looked for, for a while now. Paul is wondering how to play his Ace King. He decides, let's just put a raise in. And Cream Cage let this go, I think, with King Queen. He's tempted, but it's 10,000. It's more than a third of his stack. He won't want to do that against a chip leader. And Chelsea, now that he's in the prizes, will he take a shot with ace 4? No, he decides not to. I don't blame him. He's got a little bit of play left, so he decides, look, I've worked hard to get this far. Why do I want to go out on ace 4, potentially? Not a hand I'm realistically going to be that far ahead, even against Jack 8. How far am I ahead of this hand? Well, Queen 10, he'll like this. And he likes it even more now.
He's hit the Queen.
And decided he's not going to screw around anymore, just in case he's got a king in his hand and doesn't want to take any chances. Quite happy just to take what's in the pot, and I don't blame him really. At the end of the day, he's only got 1 pair. And as long as he keeps moving up chips steadily like he is, he's now put himself in contention for any one of those spots. First, it's still looking a little bit distant, but second or third is very much out there, isn't it, James? He could easily wrestle second or third out from these guys.
No, anything can still happen here. It's 3 of them in the 30s there. they have a collision, they virtually become chip leader.
Yep. So Cream Cage, I think, will just let this go. Doesn't want to. Well, he doesn't. He's actually trying to steal the blinds, and he get away with it. Lucky he's got 10-8.
Did it.
Yeah.
And with a small, with a minimum re-raise. And he's popped it in again. Paul, the chip leader's got an ace. Is he going to flex his muscles or pass? Decided to pass. And Cream Cage has gone to 40,000, 41,000 now.
Yeah, he's starting to creep up on Paul, isn't he? And Paul could do with that an extra 6,000, but he doesn't want to take a chance. I don't really blame him with that hand. But really, he doesn't need to play that hand. He needs to play his opponent's hand. But he'll play this one, that's for sure. He won't shy away from playing this one.
And he's done a proper raise there. So he's quite happy to take the 6 there. He's put in 12,000, but he feels it's a very good hand, four-handed, which it is.
And Tony tempted to go over the top here. This looks like a button still, but it is a button still with a good hand. So doesn't need to do anything there. And the lovely thing about these tournaments is that the game always changing. The status quo, there is never a status quo. The game is always moving about. The tactics always need to be changed. As your situation changes, as the chip stacks change, as the money and the price structure kicks in, that starts to change people's method of playing. So because people are continuously changing, they're in a state of flux, it means that you've got to adapt to that, which is why people play tournaments. Very exciting.
Cream Cage, Kojak, suited.
Left himself from room to escape there, hasn't he, James? Just in case. He likes it, but he said it is only King Jack at the end of the day. Well, they're going for this minimum raise. Well, Queen 9. Is he going to make a move here? He likes it because it's suited. And
he does, he makes it 10,000.
Interesting. No, he doesn't want to play King 9. Don't blame him, really. Who knows what he could have there. Happens to be in a good situation. But
he's picked up another hand.
Yeah, he has. He's not going to let this one go either. He's made another nice bet. And he's going to pick up another 6,000. Well, the blinds are currently 2-4. They're about to go up in a few minutes' time, so it's going to start to get pretty expensive for these guys. I mean, at the moment, it's 6,000 a round. They can afford to sort of hang about a little, but Paul is just taking these down. And Chelsea might decide to make a move here. With his King 3, and he's gone all in. Paul is wondering whether he should be calling here. Well, it's got about another 15,000, 16,000 to call. He decides to fold.
I've got another World Cup theme.
Okay, come on then, let's hear it.
Paul Gascoigne, he could be our World Cup poker player.
Okay, why is that?
Because he's used to the rounds being expensive.
Oh. Jamesy.
It was all right.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad, that one. Wasn't too bad. Anyway, I did tell you about an email earlier. I might as well just in fact, we've got time afterwards to do, so let's just wait.
Tony Harmon's gone all in with 10 deuce.
Well, bit risky. Lucky no one had a king in their hand. or a decent 10.
And now he's found a real hand.
Well, we're going to see two of them go.
Lurking in the small blind is a pair of 9s. And he's made it 12. Re-raise from Cream Cage.
Should have just gone all in, James, shouldn't he? Why has he made it a minimum raise? Well, he won't like that with the 9s, will he?
No, he won't. 2 overcards.
But he's got no choice now.
And he's out of position there, but he decided to bet anyway. And he won it.
Yeah.
So he actually stopped Tony having 2 more cards to draw.
Yeah. Would he have called an all-in? Probably.
I think he does,
Yeah.
At this stage, I think it's just fast enough.
Yeah. I'm surprised Tony only called. Aren't you? I think I would have just pushed in there.
It's... If you're going to play, it's... You're now playing a drawing game again. I don't know, it just... except he was getting...
It was about 3 to 1, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah.
More than, about 2.5, 3 to 1. Once he'd re-raised him, he might as well just put the rest in, I think. And now the problem is, you know all that's going to happen, James, I see this all the time. All that's going to happen now, he'll just go out on some rubbishy hand, rather than take the chance with the ace-queen.
I think he did realise he was behind, though.
Yeah.
And as it happened...
But as long as it's not queens, kings or aces, you know, or ace-king, obviously.
Yeah, it's difficult for him on the flop, though. He's only got... He might have 6
I don't think he
outs.
should be playing. You see, now look, he's possibly going out. He's gone out with 7 deuce.
Yeah, you forecast it.
Yeah, well, he's going to
You
happen.
heard it here first from Mark Banin. He'll probably go out with something really rubbishy.
But we see this every week, don't we? We see people don't commit themselves to a certain particular hand because they want to try and play cute, and then they just end up going out with the later stages with a worse hand.
Yeah, because
when they've got no chips.
Because he didn't have much fold equity because he was down to so few chips.
Yeah. So, but still, he played a very patient game there, Tony, and I think he was a little bit too patient, perhaps. He didn't have many cards. When we saw it 5-handed, he was just getting rubbish after rubbish. And I think the mistake there, one mistake, that's all it can be in a tournament. One mistake and you're out. You know, we all do them, and it's very, very hard not to do them. I was watching an interview with Phil Ivey. Yep. And he says there's never a tournament that he plays in where he doesn't make mistakes.
Yes, I saw that.
And this is one of the best players in the world. So,
yeah, I thought it was good.
So it just shows you. But good game there from Tony. So King Jack against 10 Jack. Against King 10, so everyone's got a decent starting hand. All we need now is a king to appear, James, and a 10 on the river, and that'll be about it. Everyone will get involved. That's now, if this board just came out King Jack 10, that'll be over, wouldn't it? All the money would go in. And look at this, Cream Cage has wrestled the lead. He's now got the lead. Courtesy of his pair of 9 moves earlier. Could have all been different.
Well, Chelsea, he knows time's running out here. And it's worked. The flat raise is working, so...
Yeah, Paul is wondering what's happened. A moment ago he was a huge chip leader, had his chip 2 to 1 over his opponents, and now he's...
second place.
Second place, yeah. Barely 2 to 1 over the bottom.
And there could be some action here. And...
I bet we'll take this, won't it? If one of them's... And,
oh, no, he's come back over the top with nothing.
Yeah, well, he's got an inside straight, hasn't
That's
he?
right, semi-bluff. Middle pin straight.
Yeah, not very good, but 9, 10 or
but
queen.
Good enough to win, and that was quite a nice play there. That was a classical semi-bluff there. Really felt he was losing, but he knows if he hits he would win. And he thinks that his opponent hasn't shown too much strength.
He was weak.
Difficult to get him to pass because the opponent didn't have many chips left. That would be the worrying thing for me. But he pulled it off.
I think what he said to himself is that, look, if you have a hand there, if you've got top pair or middle pair, I think you're going all in. You know, I don't think you're making this 4,000
bet.
bet.
I think that was it. It did look weak. And oops, here we go. And the pair of 9s. Oh, on the turn. Full house. 3 9s, 2 aces. Paul has knocked out Chelsea.
Yeah, he didn't need that though, did he? He didn't need that That extra 9 there, he was winning anyway. And the king would have saved him. So nice one there for Paul. So he's back up there. So we've got a battle between Paul and Cream Cage. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Cream Cage has got the pair of 4s.
And the straight draw as well. Both got the same straight draw. The 7 will make them both a straight. And Cream Cage has got a bit of momentum here, isn't he, James? And that can count for a lot. Oh, James, it's all over. It's a good night. Unless Paul gets some kind of miracle.
Let's have a look. Oh! Well, yeah.
That's it. It was always going to happen. And that's just to finish it off. No heart in Paul's hand, so that's all over. Well, not a lot Paul could have done there, James, is there? Heads up.
Probably not, but I mean, the way it went there, you've got to be suspicious about Cream Cage raise again. He could see a flop.
Yeah.
He could avoid ace, king or queen.
Yeah.
In a raised pot. He could do.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly, I guess, possibly.
Because he now knows his opponent's definitely got a hand.
Well, has he necessarily got to have a hand heads up with...
No, maybe not, but wasn't it a raise and a re-raise?
No, I think it was just one raise. Just one bet.
I beg your pardon, maybe I thought it was a raise, re-raise. Small raise, flat re-raise again, no?
Was it?
I thought.
Yeah,
but
anyway.
That's why I thought it. If it was that, then I'd be thinking, oh, he's definitely got a hand he likes. If I think he's got a hand he likes, it's possible with the jacks. You could say,
It's very strong heads up, though, isn't it?
It is strong. It's massive heads up, but
unfortunate.
There's plenty of hands where there's 2 overcards, and there are 3 pairs above you. It's difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah.
It's jacks against aces. It's pretty tough.
Yeah. Well, we've got just to give you an idea, $256 went to first place, and second place was 153. So nicely done there for those boys. Got an email from Simon. Thanks very much, Simon. And he's saying, just like to say, great show. Also, the USA may be good at poker. Are they good at poker, USA?
I missed that, sorry.
He's saying that it's a great show, but he's saying also the USA might be good at poker. Are they good at poker? But rubbish at football. It's not very nice, is it?
They lost today, that's why.
Yeah, they didn't do that great today, did they? And last of all, can you tell me, what is the best way to play at a live table against 4-5 players? Well, it's a very open type of question. James, what's the best way to play 4 or 5 players?
Basically, shorthanded, you now got to realise that the level of hands now is completely different to playing at a ring table of 10, because now you don't need to have such a big hand. Still, the important principles hold fire. That is, position is still of paramount importance. So therefore, if you've got position with a reasonable hand, this is a pot you can be raising with and taking the lead in this pot and taking control with. You're going to find yourself playing a lot more hands than normal, and aggression pays off very well in short-handed games.
Okay, so there you go. How can I add any more to that? I don't think I can. I don't think I can. From Craig, we've got an email from Craig, and he's saying, hi guys, many congratulations to my 2 favourite presenters on another great show, and many thanks for all your top-notch advice, which is making a big improvement to my game. Well, I'm glad it's helped. That's the whole purpose, what we do here, isn't it, James?
Yes,
try and be educational as much as anything else. Bearing in mind that I know you may not believe me, I've only been playing poker since February, okay? Very short time indeed. And last night I made my 2nd royal flush in 7 weeks.
Wow.
I think I've made 1 ever that I can remember. Maybe 2, but I've definitely made 1 or 2 maximum. How many have you made? Do you remember?
I think maybe 1.
Really? Yeah.
They're not easy.
You've been playing for about 40 years, haven't you?
Thank you.
I've also flopped quads from pocket queens and later made quad 10s. I've no idea what the odds of this are, but know that statistically this is very extreme, and thought I'd email you to ask you more about the maths involved in poker. Okay, this is for James. James likes maths in poker. I've heard Casper mention that the likes of Chris Ferguson is pretty much a mathematical genius, and was wondering what sort of things top players may consider and factor into their equations at any given time when they make decisions during hands, and how much of an edge does this ability give them over lesser players? So does it really get complicated, and would you say these more advanced considerations are usable online given a small amount of time you have to make your decisions? Very good point. Any help or advice you could give me would be very much appreciated as always. So James, a few questions there. The first question is, how much of an edge does it give to good players over lesser players, knowing really good maths?
I think it definitely helps good players when they're playing money games, because money games become very much down to pure mathematical situations many times, because it just is exactly, it's not rocket science, a lot of it, however, but it's a matter of really, am I getting value to call here? But why it's complicated, why the better mathematician is going to do very well in this is, he is very good at discounting the outs. He might say, in this situation, I've got so many outs, but I've got to discount so many because. Also, if I make this hand, it doesn't win all the time because my opponent might have this hand. And now he's able to make this quick calculation to really put what the realistic odds are. Now, we can say, oh, yes, I've got a flush draw, and I'm going to make that flush draw about just over 4 to 1. I'm going to be 4 to 1 against. But he'll say, but it looks like this guy's on a flush draw as well, so my chance of hitting it, but this guy's already got a made hand, etc., etc., etc. And also it might make someone a house, so my true odds are this. Now he'll know exactly what his true odds are. Not exactly, but you have a better ballpark figure. So in that case, he'll be playing technically probably better in those situations. But a lot of the mathematical situations we mustn't be frightened of, and where we can think about them is actually away from the table. And we can take hands away from a game we've played, then go back and then pull it to pieces and then look at the odds we were getting in a situation. And some of these situations obviously repeat themselves or mirror themselves another day. We'll have already done the homework when we've had plenty of time to look at it. You're obviously right, what you said there is when you're online, for example, you don't really have that much time there. You've got to have revisited, seen the film before. If you're not sure, then go and do your homework and do the maths later.
Okay, well, thanks very much for that. And that was from Craig. Thank you very much for that, Craig. I've also got an email from Richard, and Richard's saying, I've been playing in a $3, $5 single table sit and go, $3 to $5 single table sit and goes, and doing quite well by getting in the top 4, mostly coming second or third, annoyingly sometimes fourth. I find it difficult to decide what to play with on heads up. Should I push with a raise if I have Queen 2, for example? Should I play with Queen, King A, sometimes fold high cards with low kickers in heads up? But this is the right kind of play. What's the strategy? Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll answer this one because we need to run through some of these. On this particular one, I would say it's not so much important what cards you're holding. Okay, when you're playing heads up, the blinds are extremely high. Yeah, you haven't got to wait for certain hands. What you've got to do is look for timing. Yeah, and it's timing. Do you need the chips? The answer is yes. Push. What's going to happen if I don't make this move in the next 2 or 3 hands? Will I be so short stacked that he has to call me regardless? If that's the case, then you have to make your move. And it's all about timing. It really isn't to do about cards heads up, especially when the blinds are so high. You can't wait for aces or kings or obviously ace rag or king rag or queen rag. You know, you have to go with what makes sense at that particular moment in time. You've got to make that judgment. Anything to add to that, James?
No, I think that's great there. Just evaluate your hand regarding how fast the game is. And the example was, I still think that was a good play of mine when I had King Jack, time's running out, big blind next time. Yeah, it's a big hand now. Push, I've got fold equity, maybe 90%. That'll do me. I ran into a hand, doesn't matter. If I do that 100 times, I think I'm going to do well by it.
Okay, thanks very much for that, Craig. James's game so far. Welcome to my world. I just played a multi-table tournament. I played tight, raised with jacks, and lost on the river to ace-king. Lowish on chips, and 10 minutes later, I get ace-king. I raise again, and call a smaller stack all in. He has 4s and I don't hit. Now I'm desperate and I get 4 the next hand. I have to go all in, and same guy who's won the last hand calls with ace king and flops 2 pair. This game isn't easy, is it? Yeah. Horrible when it happens, but it does happen, doesn't it, James? You can't do anything about that.
Zigging and zagging.
Yeah. One from Mark. Good morning, gents. Just thought to share something with you that happened to me last week in a live tourney at my local poker club. Picture Glasgow, June of 606. I'm in the big blind and get dealt 6-6. The flop comes Queen 6, Rag 6. I check the guy under the gun bets. Everyone but me folds. I re-raise all in. He calls my 666 on the 666. Wait for it. Drum roll, 6 p.m. Hold up. There you go.
Wow.
Well, that's interesting stuff. Okay.
Omen.
And unfortunately, we don't have time for the last one from Chris. I'm sorry, Chris. Thanks very much for sending it in, Chris. I'll leave it in there for tomorrow's presenters, or perhaps you just want to send it in again, and whoever's on tomorrow will give it a shout. Sorry I didn't have time for you. However, it's been a good show. Thanks for all your emails and text, and tune in tomorrow for tomorrow's version of Poker Night Live. From me and James, it's good night.
Good night.